Hello, chat. Isn't it a wonderful day? My stream is apparently live. Yes, it is. Hello, Super Duper. It's wonderful to see that you are as at the cutting edge of the VTuber news cycle as always. We have to forgive him. He is Californian. Hello, Murray. Hello, Person. Hello, John VTuber. Haven't seen you around in quite some time. Good afternoon, everybody. My stream is apparently live. Yes, it is. I do love how it takes YouTube literally something like 3 or 4 minutes to properly load analytics and everything. You know, they've only been in the streamer market for, what, 20 years at this point, nearly? Hello, Salamandra. Good evening, everyone. It's going to be quite an interesting evening. I was planning to do a TVA thread recap today, but I have had a very strange week. A very strange week indeed. I've been unusually sleepy for pretty much the last 5 or 6 days. It's been really awkward for me. Every time I've tried to get into something, I've just started to feel really tired, and I'm not sure. It might have something to do with the way the weather has just abruptly changed from fairly average to apocalyptically dreadful. It seems that the day that I decide to resume streaming at a semi-regular hour, the weather just immediately goes terrible. I just don't understand it. It's very upsetting to me. I was very fortunate to get about an hour and a half of weed pulling done in the garden, and then the heavens opened, and about 17 million gallons of water were suddenly dumped on my head, which was just a bit bothersome and irritating, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I want sun. I want summer. We've had no summer this year. It's been absolutely insane, the lack of sun. This is probably one of the worst years in terms of weather that I've had while living in this wonderful country. Hello, Starlegs. Did I say hello, Salamandra? I think I'm going insane. I think I might be getting early onset dementia because I look at chat and I see people saying things and I'm like, did I greet that person already? Haljeb, my favorite is when it's 35 degrees out but it's raining so I can't run the little room AC. What is I am a Europore. I'm a Europore, so I have never had AC in my whole life. Could you explain why you can't run AC when it's raining? I do not understand that. Hello, Magdalena's Rex. Greetings to everybody. I hope that you are all going to join me happily on this little seal clubbing adventure, because I have not had a chance to catch up with the forum, and yeah, people that have been active on the forum in the last week will probably have noticed a few things that occurred. A defenstration, shall we say. A smashing, a ejection, a revelation, a revealing of secrets, a final solution to the goblin question, you might say. But the thing is, I don't really want to talk about that on stream because it was a pretty messy thing, and there is stuff that I can't actually talk about at the moment because it would be revealing things that people have said to me in confidence that might affect them. So sadly, I don't really feel like I want to discuss the whole situation there on a live stage without being able to just kind of sit down and think about what I'm saying first. Oh, damn, did I miss something? Yeah, I'm sure somebody on the Discord can provide you with a link, and you might be able to cast your eyes over the members list and see that certain people are no longer there, because I got sick of their shit, and I called them out in rather dramatic fashion, which is quite honestly one of the most cathartic events that has happened to me all week. I wonder if the kind of lethargy that I've been experiencing the last few days has kind of been just the equivalent of like that post-nut clarity that men get. I think it's kind of a bit like, post-rage clarity, where you finally get something out of your system that you've been sitting on for an extremely long period of time and had to endure, and then you let it all out, and then your body is just like, damn, that was a real workout. I think I'm gonna go to sleep for a while. Streaming over Matty, come on now. I have no idea when Null streams, I'm sorry. Post-ban clarity. Let me switch over everything to live chat and scroll back up for a second. Oh, Helljev, your message got filtered on top chat, probably because you swore. I brought it this year because it was criminally hot down here. It's one of those portable ACs that I just stick a pipe out the window to get hot air out. Oh, I see. That makes sense. Jordan Brown, would you rather take the buckets on buckets of rain or 40 degrees heat wave for almost 2 weeks? I would say that the rain is probably better. I kind of dissolve into a puddle of nothingness after a few days exposed, like plus 25 degrees Celsius. I vastly prefer being cool. I could quite happily deal with, like, just above sub-zero temperatures all the time. That'd be just fine for me. Magdalenus Rex, I learned that one of the girls in that I think you mean indie. Or do you mean Indo? Like Indo or indie, you could have mistyped, or you could be speaking about an Indian corpo. I'm not sure. I learned that one of the girls in that Indo corpo that's been shutting down is Kayla's friend Alenka. Kayla was talking about it and breaking down on her Zatsu stream last night. Been a bad month for her. I'm very sorry. Kayla's a very, very good person. I don't watch much Hololive any longer because I stick mostly to indies that I can have direct interaction with, because that's how I get my parasocial fix. But the Hololive girls, especially Kayla, I would say Kayla ranks pretty high up there in terms of people that I probably would watch an awful lot of if she wasn't in the biggest corporation on the entire industry at this point. I mean, technically Nijisanji is still bigger, but yeah, let's wait and see on that, shall we, guys? Let's wait another year or two for total Nijisanji death. That should be very interesting. I have the tabs set up in advance, so we will be able to jump into things right away. I would just like to make it clear that if anybody would like me to cover certain things in this stream, then I am more than happy to do so. You will just have to go to the Discord, and you will have to highlight to me certain links in the stream materials chat. We're going to be fairly comprehensive. I didn't want to jump straight on the bandwagon of the EvilToaster hate party because I just don't like to be the first on to anything, because if you're the first, then you do get the initial coverage view boost, but you're also at the bleeding edge of the content, that if anything else comes out and it reframes the narrative, then you're the one that's left holding the bag, and you're the one that has to either issue a retraction or a follow-up or etc. and so on. And I prefer to come in late but comprehensive, and I must appreciate the TVA gremlins for that, because they've been covering things quite well. And I think that this is definitely a case where I am going to be throwing a considerable number of stones, not just at EvilToaster's beautiful shiny chrome dome, but also at certain other individuals that let him get away with this shit for far, far, far too long. Made the next X, do you see what happened with the Holo Pro? I saw a lot of memes about it. I'm afraid that my understanding of Holo Pro is next to nothing, because, as I said, I mostly focus on indie stuff. I just don't really care all that much about what happens to big corporations, unless it's like a major thing. Zengammon, isn't Nux also mixed up with this somehow? I've heard nothing about Nux Taku being mixed up in this. I do know that Zentreya is like EvilToaster's close friend. Did EvilToaster have any... He does have a VR chat stream. Not stream, but a history. because I remember reading one of his tweets which said, I spent a ton of time talking to cute girls in VR chat. He is definitely the kind of person that I can see being a VR chat gooner. Some still are white knighting the creep. Well, we know that who has been indulging in some pork sausage for Twitch ambassador perks, although it's always VR chat. Yes, it is. It's always VR chat. Like, total VR chat death. I cannot believe how much just absolute degeneracy comes back to VR chat. People post a lot of UO memes. Someone posted Miko with a jihadi outfit and Guru with a KKK outfit. Holo Plus used AI for its moderation. That didn't end well. Oh, yes, I did see some of that. I did see some of that. Yes, I think somebody posted on the forum and pointed out that people seem to forget that HoloLive has a very, very bad track record with anything that's not directly VTuber related. So them coming out with an app like that with basically zero moderation and no human oversight, I mean, it was always going to be a disaster, but it seems like it has been mostly a very funny disaster overall, which I, of course, approve of. I think that if you are going to have a disaster for anything, then it should be an entertaining one. Hi, hello, small wife. Zen Gunman, all you need to know about is the VR tries to be made by furries, for furries. I mean, it's just like Second Life. Like 10, 15 years ago, Second Life was the VR chat. And I remember reading Something Awful back in the day, and before Something Awful got terminally paused. And Second Life, I also remember that an awful lot of my friends that I used to roleplay with when they were early, mid to late teenagers, they all kind of graduated from text roleplay into Second Life, and I kind of lost contact with them because they hit that gooner phase of their lives where they just wanted to play on VR chat and use the disgusting sex mods and everything instead of actually doing. I mean, I look back on that time of my life and I think, there but for the grace of God go I am so fortunate. Now it really is Something Awful. It most certainly is. The downfall of Something Awful, I think, is just so illustrative of how far we have fallen as a society. I'm sorry, Proctor, but the gooning is spread to the brain. You have no idea how many sad brains I know who to this day still goon in VR chat and so forth. Like, I check back in on them every 3 or 4 years, and it's like, I swear, people say that masturbation doesn't have any ill effects. I sincerely believe otherwise, because I think that all the terminal onanists that I have known in my life, it seems like it arrests their development. Like, whatever particular date you start furiously gooning is the one that you stay, like, that's your mental age for the rest of your life. If you put your hand in your pants and don't take it out, then it's the secret to immortality. It's just like, it's a monkey's paw. You are immortal. You will always be the same age, except only mentally, and you have to, like, goon to VR chat models at least 8 times every day. Like, absolute bare minimum. And that's the secret to eternal life, okay? But you're probably not going to like the side effects. Well, I don't know, maybe you'll enjoy it, but at the same time, you're not exactly going to go anywhere in life. They say that because they're either addicted or they do not know the ramifications of it. Yeah. Group goon session VR chat. I do find, like, that whole stuff just completely disgusting. Like, I can understand, like, sexting, aka, writing each other sexy messages and, like, role-playing as a character, because I saw that happen an awful lot. Like, I played roleplay servers on Neverwinter Nights for many years, and, yeah, the most popular ones of those were R18. But, you see, the weird thing is that I remember people, and that's another actual really weird thing, because there are people I know who played Neverwinter Nights, who still played Neverwinter Nights more than 10 years later, because it did get an updated remaster, a re-release, and that was handled by Beamdog, like in the same vein as, like, Baldur's Gate Remastered. And Beamdog genuinely did a very, very good job, the Neverwinter Nights remaster. They brought back the the multiplayer servers and everything. Super Duper, you were into roleplay. Super Duper, can I please get a timeshare under that rock you live under? Because I swear, either that or you are literally a goldfish. Because I swear I have talked about this like 25 times before, an absolute bare minimum, and Manalcovora, I'm not reading that one. I remember when we actually had to ask the people out in person, yeah. But yeah, I remember when people used to play Neverwinter Nights, and they got really into role-playing their characters, and what you'd have is some smelly neckbeard, like the very classic archetypal neckbeard, like the Euphoria magazine level neckbeard, and like they would play like a hot lesbian drow priestess or something with like J-cup breasts. You know exactly the kind that I'm talking about if you've ever looked at any kind of stereotypical like nerd sex fantasy, and that would be their character. And I know some people, like, I have a friend of mine who still plays Neverwinter Nights role-playing servers because he's genuinely extremely into the more political aspects of it, because you can get some genuinely amazing stuff there. But yet people have been doing that for 10 years, and the thing is, it has become such a thing with them that they will do things. One of the things that really shook up the Neverwinter Nights role-playing community is the use of voice chat. Because Neverwinter Nights has always been a text-based role-playing experience, that's what made it a good role-playing experience, because it had locational chat where only people in a certain proximity to your character could see your messages, and also a very large locational chat, something like nearly 1,000. You could write something like 500-600 character long messages, so you could get really detailed in the amount of role-playing you could do. And yes, you could also get rather detailed in those kind of messages as well. And so these people have gotten kind of completely mentally adapted to that environment, and when things like Discord came around and people had access to fast, easy, and instantaneous voice chat, there was this great revolution in the Neverwinter Nights role-playing community, because the community became completely divided between the people who were willing to use voice chat to communicate and organize, and obviously have much greater group play and be able to coordinate everything, especially in things like PvP, and those who absolutely refused to use voice chat under any circumstances, because they had spent so long role-playing their characters as like big titty drow moms and so on, that they could not physically stand the cognitive dissonance of being in a voice chat and hearing all of the neckbeard voices around them coming out of the avatars that they'd had like roleplay and ERP relationships with for literal years on end. And that's really hilarious to me. There are still people that are out there like that, and like I check back in with my best friend every so often because he really enjoys messing up the meta on those servers. It's extremely fun to watch, and it's just such an incredible. Because again, the immersion, like Neverwinter Nights is a 2002 game, okay? So the character models are very simple, they're very polygonal, it's like 2-3 steps above old school RuneScape in terms of graphical fidelity, but there are just people that have made it their entire social life. It is completely and totally an obsession with them. Like every waking moment when they're not like doing the absolute bare minimum needed to get by in the real life, in the real world, then they're playing a role-playing server on Neverwinter Nights with like 10 plus years of history there. And to be fair to them, there are some genuinely incredibly good role players that I know who can quite literally play a character in like a fantasy kingdom and go through political intrigue and even wholesome like relationships where they raise a family and then play characters that are in multiple generations and so on. It's really cute. I really enjoyed it when it was more wholesome. Unfortunately, I kind of actually do agree a little bit that voice chat kind of ruined the whole scene because it made it a little bit too meta. I would prefer not to have voice chat, especially because it just... I'm a Michael Foreigner. I remember when BioWare made video games, that sure was fun. BioWare made some fantastic video games. Like, I think games like Neverwinter Nights and Baldur's Gate, they just defined my childhood. Other people have things like the Blizzard games, like Diablo and so on. No, mine was Neverwinter Nights, Baldur's Gate, and a little bit of Mass Effect too. Kenneth Patterson, my classmates and I once caught one of my high school English teachers chatting on an adult text-based mud during class. That sounds horrible. Diablo. I miss BioWare. KOTOR was my jam. I have never actually played KOTOR. Like, KOTOR was... I was never... Mud multi-user dungeon. It's like a prelude to roleplay stuff. Voice chat for RP, no. Yeah, I would never use voice chat for roleplay. That just takes me out of the experience. Again, I am fortunate. I am a very good writer. I enjoy writing long, detailed posts and so forth. I did forum roleplay for a while, but that was just a little bit too slow. I still think that a good instant messaging-based role-playing experience is just the peak, because you have enough time to type out something long and detailed, like 300, 400, 500 characters or even more in terms of post size, but you're also... things happen fast enough. I decided that I was not interested in forum RP after, like, it kind of, the meta became, like, take 1 or 2 weeks to make a post, and the post is, like, 5,000 or 6,000 characters long, describing how your character intakes air and processes oxygen, and just people jerking each other off, like, not literally, but over how long the text chat would be. And I just didn't like that. I much prefer things to have a decent pace to them, and I've done really, really great stuff there. I would love to do that again someday, but it's just very difficult in today's internet environment with so much Zoomer stuff. And it's also very difficult. Unfortunately, I kind of pigeonholed myself into only really enjoying homebrew stuff. Voice chat RP sounds extremely cringe. I'm not saying those things out loud. Yeah, it's like a voice chat RP and LARP. It's just awful. I just don't like any of it. I don't understand how anybody can do LARP. I can understand things like, ironically, something like military LARP would be fine. Like down-to-earth military LARP, like the... or military reenactment, rather. It's not really LARP. Military reenactment, I can understand. But, like, fantasy live-action roleplay, where you're swinging around, like, foam swords and pretending to cast lightning bolt on each other... No, sorry, that's a step too far into the willing suspension of disbelief for me to remain willing in my suspension of disbelief. Magic missile! Getting drunk on shit mead. I like mead. You would enjoy Arma 3 if you want to get into Milsim Lab. I tried Arma 3 for a while, I just didn't really like it. Military reenactment has the opposite of a sweet spot between joking and super hardcore that's full of insufferable skull balaclava tactical figs. It's basically just camping with corsets and no bras. Oh yeah, I have heard that like Ren fairs and so on tend to be like massive hives of debauchery on the level of conventions where just everybody is going at it like rabbits. I think you'd like full contact fencing or dueling. My friend actually does that, and he really enjoys it. If Ireland allowed people to actually own any kind of weapon or engage in any kind of paramilitary training or like military adjacent training without immediately condemning it as a front for the IRA, then yeah, I would definitely be into that, most definitely. Ren fairs are also popular with furries for some reason. Total furry death. I'm going to a Ren fair with my brothers in 2 weeks. Pack condoms. Tavern wenches were the only fans girls of their era. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You guys distract me far too much. Come out, you black and tans. Come out and face me like a man in single rapier combat. Ren fair culture got infected with alphabet degenerates a few years ago. They infect everything. You have to gatekeep. You've got to gatekeep, guys. You can't just let these people come in and take over. You have to say no to the danger hairs. I have to say no to the people that say, oh yes, they were always female Vikings. Come to the US for a tactical training camp, go home with a nice thick Interpol file. I mean, I would never join a military, I would never fight a war, but I do think, to be perfectly honest, that it's reasonable in life for somebody to have at least some form of military style training, because it just teaches you a level of discipline and hardiness that people just don't have nowadays. I think maybe not a military boot camp. I wouldn't make that mandatory in a perfect society, but definitely some form of similar kind of training would be very good for people, I think. It would be good for society. I was surprised to not see too many danger hairs. From the bits I saw of the Hololive concert, a lot of nerdy cosplayers who needed to do a job, but not many Tumblr types. I was surprised at the lack of danger hairs at V-Expo, actually. It was surprisingly normal, in fact. It seemed to be mostly based, well, not based in red pill types, definitely not, but quite decent. No real rainbow freaks at all. They concentrate around Nichi-sanji. It did entertain me at V-Expo to see like somebody trying to sell Nichi-sanji placards, and fortunately they didn't have other merch, but they had a bunch of Nichi-sanji character prints. I think that not a single one of those sold. Most of the Hololive stuff sold. Most of the, obviously the Face Connect and stuff sold. I did not see I went back on day 2. Every single one of the Nichi-sanji placards they had that they'd put out on day 1 were still there late on day 2, and that is as it should be. The danger hairs like the bog are moving? I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that. Ugh. Mandatory full contact PE for kids. It would, maybe not mandatory. I bought a Pippa mousepad at Anime NYC. Oh dear, he's going to do unspeakable things with that mousepad. I just know it. Oh, the danger hairs. The Borg. The Borg. Yeah, I get what you mean. I mean, they will unwillingly assimilate you if you're not careful. Yes, person, do not the mousepad, please. Why are people posting musical instruments in general chat? It greatly confuses me. Now it's black people in my chat. I am very confused. Every time I start streaming, like, something weird happens in the Discord chat. There's no laws against the mousepads, Batman. That's why I bought the Fuamoko Syscon. Sometimes I wonder about the kind of people that I attract. Anyway, let us actually get on topic, because otherwise I will ramble for a minimum of 6 hours. Allow me to just wet my whistle, as it were. And let us get to the throwing of the stones. The chat reflects the streamer. Excuse me, I'm not a degenerate in any way. I do not endorse things. I do not have a Kirsha Dakimakura, because she hasn't made them yet. Yeah, I would never buy such a thing, nor a Kirsha mouse pads or anything like that. Never, ever, ever. Mostly, and definitely not because my mother occasionally cleans my shed. Dear, I already went through that a bit too much with all the frame arms girls and Megami device kits that I bought, so I'm not gonna go through that again anyway. But yes, we are now lining up to cast stones. Allow me to make sure that my chat elements are okay. Yes, we're good. Produce the Korsha for inspection. We really need a Korsha plush. So it's hidden inside a hollowed out roof beam. No, the bats live in the roof beam. I fully expect to have Toaster to have a file of disgusting behavior. What do you mean, Toaster himself, or to have that on him? I will say that I'll kind of get into it later, actually. I won't tangent on it right now. But yeah, let's just start right at the beginning of this saga for people like Super Duper who have no idea what the hell is going on or anything. Thank you also, I Wanna Die, for this quite decent OP of everything, which is exactly what I want to see on TVA. Thank you very much. So he points out, have you ever thought, how could I annoy the shit out of my favorite Twitch streamer without paying money? Well, with this amazing new update in Twitch, you can do so very easily. Simply go live and start knocking. You don't even have to be partnered, apparently. Twitch has added a fun new feature called Drop In /knocking, where you can interrupt other streamers midstream to collab beg. And of course, the moment this was made, people were like, yeah, we don't want this. But Twitch, in its infinite wisdom, was like, yeah, we're not going to let you turn this off. You have to have it on. And if you want to turn it off, there's only a very simple and crude opt-out system, which has to be redone every single time you go live, as far as I'm aware. Because as Milky Mew said here, how to turn this off, go to your collab panel, click on permissions, uncheck everything. Only people you manually favorite can knock on your stream. In my case, that list is empty. Twitch didn't put a way to actually disable it, so that's the only way for now. Yeah, most people in my chat probably do not watch Twitch very much. I will always maintain that the chatting experience on Twitch is vastly superior to that of YouTube. Like, I can read everybody's messages right now, but if I ever reach the heady heights of like mid-3 view or whatever, I genuinely worry because I like to be able to read and see everybody's chat message, but I find even now, even if I unfocus my eyes a tiny bit, the YouTube chat is just so bland and boring and uninteresting. That's why I think to myself, have I answered this message before? Hardcore non-consensual collab. Yes, there's no way to set this up in advance or anything like that. Twitch culture is cancerous, in my opinion. I don't really get much Twitch culture because, again, I just watch streamers there. I don't keep up with anything to do with Twitch. I know the TwitchCon is cancer. Streaming consent accident, that's a new one. I don't watch / keep up with Twitch, so I'm just learning about this, lol. Knock, my favorite Twitch feature right after the mobile app update. I have never used the mobile app on Twitch. The mobile app for Twitter made me want to gouge my eyes out with a rusty spoon when I was at V-Expo. I had to use it on my tablet. Oh, it's so cancer. Like, the number of ads. Like, I use Brave browser for Twitter, so I've got an ad blocker installed, so I never see ads on Twitter. Using the Twitter app on my Android tablet on Twitter, oh, that was so awful. That was just so dreadful in every way. The mobile app for YouTube shits out every 3 minutes for me, but that might just be because I'm using a second cheapest phone I could find. My phone, my older phone, will not run YouTube whatsoever. It's like 2014 or so, 2012? I don't actually remember when I first got it, but yeah, it's older. It remembers the beginning of the Obama era, put it that way. Good grief, what was that noise? Oh, somebody driving incredibly fast on the top road. That's, wow, goodness, somebody's eager to meet his maker. Did not sound like a healthy engine. Needless to say, most people aren't happy about it, especially socially awkward VTubers, aka all of them. There is one that's excited for it, however, and that's the genius behind the idea, EvilToaster. And this is our wonderful, definitely not Pepe the Frog. Pepe the Fail. Actually, that's a good one. Let's call him Pepe the Fail from now on. Now, when people ask me, what does being a Twitch ambassador mean? I can say I told them to make this feature, and they actually heckin' did it. Can't wait to give it a try. And then, of course, we have the immediate response. Muted this a while ago, 'cause I ain't subjecting myself to y'all's brain rot. But if it wasn't obviously clear, me twelling Twitch, please add better features for collabing and making collab organization and communication easier is not the same as me deciding how exactly that is executed. And the amount of people saying no one asked for this, bro, none of y'all asked for anything you actually need to grow on Twitch, 'cause you have no idea what you're doing. Collab content is proven to be extremely effective, but you refuse to engage in it because you're terrified of people. Now, I will say, he does have a somewhat good point at the last bit. There, I think that Pippa and Kirsche have talked about how difficult they find actually setting up collaborations before. But, yeah, you don't take a extremely socially anxious and awkward woman and then suddenly go, "Oi, I want to collab with you. Oi, let me into your stream. Come on, let me in. Come on, let me in. Come on, come on, come on, let me in, 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 let me in." No, that's not how you do it. Don't do that. It's a bad idea. This is better than Western VAs for anime. Oi, you have a license for that collab? You first sound like how Michael Lior's bad creepypasta series reads Jeff the Killer's voice whenever he appears in a creepypasta. Proctor slipping into Kirsch's DM as 2024 colorized. I will not I will not go into details about how much screaming and cleaning up there was after my first set of DMs with Kirsha. But yes, moving swiftly on. The real question is, are streamer collaborations more more profitable for the streamer or for Twitch as a corporate? That's actually not a bad way to look at it. Pippa finds it hard because she answers DMs once a year. Only works if everyone involved has the most soulless business virtual approach where everyone is just using each other for numbers. Yeah, that's the entertainment industry in a nutshell. Congratulations on discovering that fact. Knocking into Twitch has about the same effect on antisocial women as it does in real life. You'd know about that, wouldn't you, Rie? They cower under the bed until they go away. Yes, yes. I actually do wonder if there are any major examples of people actually using this feature and being able... I wonder if there are any stats on that to know if anybody is actually using that call-in feature and if it's ever been successful, because I would bet that it really hasn't. Numbers, look at numbers. Oh, yes. Let me just grow down to this. So every single person is is just ragging on Toaster immediately. And here is, I'm just going to highlight this guy, Cabhal, horror VTuber. Now, this is an interesting kind of crossover, because this guy is quite literally the only person in this entire Twitter thread, as far as I've read, like 100+ replies that I read before I stopped bothering. This guy is the only person that I saw who is praising this change. And I find it interesting that it's Cabal because Cabal has a bit of a history. He's actually appeared on one of my streams before, is that he is very close friends, or was, he kind of distanced himself with Seth, the guy who runs or ran MSM Talent, which is the MSM agency which recently collapsed. It was the one that... a whole bunch of people on VT claimed had no proper business filing. And as far as I'm aware, I don't even know if that turned out to be objectively correct, but I do know that MSM Talent is now functionally defunct. A vast number of people left shortly after that revelation, and Seth was accused of a whole bunch of stuff. He did a reply. I don't really know where to assign blame. I think it's pretty demonstrably obvious that he did something wrong, and that as a result, a whole bunch of people just dropped him. But it's been very weird. But the interesting thing is that Cabal here was one of the only people to actually stand up for Seth and take the contrarian opinion that he had done nothing wrong. So this guy seems to have a real habit of siding with the people that the community is about to beat with hammers. And this is definitely another case of it. Regal, yeah, that's the one where the business IRC was never renewed from like 2019 or something like that. Yeah, there was a whole bunch of arguments on VT over it. The trouble is, whenever you reveal something on VT, everything gets bogged down in a horrible quagmire and miasma, because there were like dozens and dozens of people all screaming at each other. No, that's not how it works. It is actually legal business. Or, oh, there's no requirement to have it. Or no, you're just making stuff up. Like the screenshots are fake. I'm a real lawyer. You don't know what the hell you're doing, etc. and so on. So, yeah, it was incomprehensible. I have no idea who was in the right. I have no idea who was in the wrong. It's unless a talent talks, and Grimmy is the only talent that I think has actually talked in any kind of detail about the MSM talent situation, and I've only managed to watch a little bit of that video because I've been quite busy today, but I believe that people were saying that Grimmy wasn't actually saying anything particularly negative about MSM talent itself, but she did say that a group that MSM talent was working with, they were extremely unprofessional and difficult to work with, and I think basically the gist of her stream, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because I've not watched all of it, but from what I watched, she was saying, yeah, it wasn't MSM Talent's fault, but they didn't have the professional ability to wrangle this third party that they were very closely and intricately tied with, and as a result, MSM Talent as a brand got a huge amount of backlash for the stuff that this third party messed up. Again, please, if somebody else has watched that full stream and knows different, then please tell me otherwise, but that is the impression that I got, which I find very interesting. Although Grimmy is a sweetheart. She's a really, really sweet woman. She is most definitely not the controversial or shit stirrer type of person. It sounded like a bunch of teenagers trying to run a corpo with their parents. Money is what I got out of it. Yeah, that's quite possible too. It definitely encourages me not to found TVA Corp, put it that way, because that would be... I don't think that I have the ability to run a corporation. I'm sorry. I know a bunch of people are really for some reason think that would be a good idea. No, thank you. I don't need that stress in my life. Do you have any idea how difficult it is to deal with two views when I have no direct business affiliations with them at all? You really need experienced managers. I agree. I mean, the thing is that you don't need a huge amount of experience to be a manager, because trust me, I've seen how low the bar is. You just need to have decent communication skills. But, yeah, there are so many terrible managers out there. I just can't believe it. I think one of them was actually 18 or 19. That might be thinking of a different company. You might be thinking of Akio Air, actually. But let's move on from this. So by now, we've realized that EvilToaster has been getting a huge amount of backlash for this. Nobody at all liked any of what he was trying to sell them, which is completely understandable. But now... as the thread highlights, these are some of the lowly failures at self-promotion who are disagreeing with him, by the way. All large indie 4 views. I don't know how many followers Bow the Whale has, but I know that Shy Lily has 1.4 million followers on Twitch. And she says, knock knock, who's there? Unwanted feature. For real though, please let us opt out of these. And here's Amelie as well, one of the most famous like indie songsters or like cover artists that I'm aware of. I actually have a bunch of her covers downloaded. She's a very, very, very good singer. Hire Tessa to manage TVA Core, get Ilara to teach the talents. Oh dear, that's... I'm really surprised that Tessa hasn't blocked me, because I've called her up multiple times, but she doesn't seem to be interested in blocking me. It's kind of surprising, because Zentreya blocked me recently. And it's funny, because I haven't actually said anything to Zentreya recently, but for some reason just randomly decided to block me out of nowhere. I love Amelie. Yeah, Amelie is great. I really like her music. She's a very, very talented singer. Toaster, meanwhile, yeah, here's his stats. Let's have a look at these stats. No, you bloody wretched, annoying thing. So, EvilToaster, the glorious VTuber marketing genius with so much power and skill. Average viewers, 237. Yeah. And his peak viewers being at 2,974 is, I believe, from when Zentreya used to raid him, because, yeah, Zentreya and EvilToaster were friends for some reason, and I have a gut feeling that they used to be VR chat gooners together, probably, and that's why they're friends into VTubing as well. Dude gets mogged by FaZe JP, yes. 3-view washed up overview Overwatch 1 trick. Yep. He is very much a washed up guy, and trust me, we're going to get into this because, my goodness, there's a lot of nonsense. Definitely just got told by someone to block you. I mean, I've literally quote-tweeted him multiple times and called him out on various nonsense that he said because he, like, has at least 3 woman moments every 5 minutes. I would rank Zentreya up there with Merryweather in terms of, like, completely cucked people who will always have the worst opinion possible. And so I enjoy calling them out, not even at Finana level. Yeah, what's Finana's CCV nowadays? Because has it continued declining over time? Got a feeling without anything to go off, Zentreya is friends with Fruit, and Fruit convinced her to do that. Maybe Fruit watched my coverage of V-Expo and heard me when I called her ugly, so maybe that's what got, and she went to Zentreya and told him to block me. That would be incredibly hilarious. 0.56 Finanas, I think. Mary at least has some semblance of professional success, yeah, by being a massive sellout. Sorry, I just dropped something on the floor that I've been fidgeting with because I am massively fidgeting. I have never interacted with Zentreya, never mentioned him, but criticized Fruit once, and Zentreya blocked me. I wonder if Zentreya is Fruit's new boyfriend. I rate EvilToaster 5 out of 7 Finanas. And as people started conversing about it, the reason that Femboy like it is like it is because he loves to come to streams uninvited. People are infuriated by putting up this homosexual feature instead of fixing the app. Yeah, because one of the major things that people were complaining about wasn't even so much the app itself, but they were raking EvilToaster over the coals because they were like, dude, you had the ability to get stuff approved at Twitch itself. Why exactly did you not ask them to fix all of the massive problems with the Twitch app? Why didn't you ask them to bring back features that they removed that people actually used? Why didn't you ask them to fix their, like, terrible player that constantly crashes and constantly stops recording your watch time and other nonsense like that? Why didn't you do any of this? Why did you instead basically use your influence as a Twitch ambassador to approve a feature that only benefits you, that everybody else hates? I don't call that soybeard a femboy. That's disgusting. I didn't call him a femboy. Oh yeah, that Cubana Dumb called him a femboy. I mean, yeah, EvilToaster is a he/they. He considers himself non-binary, so, and we'll get into that. If you go back to the thumbnail that I used for this video, I'm rather proud of, although I slapped it together in like 10 minutes. I just kind of thought about that male feminist Stone Toss thing. Stone Toss is one of the most on-the-nose artists I can possibly think of. He just absolutely nailed that this is what a male feminist looks like comic. It was just so beautiful. And it's constantly applicable because EvilToaster, make his beard ginger and he looks exactly like Dr. Pizza. Oh wow, I just looked up Finana's channel and she's getting lower video views than Holo Stars. Oh damn, that's gotta sting good. Another drink. As Tiki and Lurker points out, Twitch truly works hard to make their platform complete and utter dog shit to use. Who thought that this would be a good idea? Oh yes, Twitch ambassador, Apex/FPS/variety gamer, autistic/ADHD, non-binary/gender fluid, he/they. Of course, a brain-dead gender friend has this level of intelligence. What a joke. Looks like this guy totally has all the ideas on how to grow based on these numbers. Perfect representation of Twitch's dumbass ambassador program. And speaking of Twitch adding dumb shit no one asked for, I forgot to post this last week. We're rolling out an experimental prompt powered by machine learning, AI, that encourages users to pause before sending chat messages that are potentially harmful. Our goal with this experiment is to help decrease harassment and facilitate More positive interactions on Twitch. Aren't you so glad that our wonderful Twitch overlords are producing this marvelous feature that will ask us to stop and think carefully about the impact of our words when we say them in a Twitch user's chat. I love how it's Lumi. I really love how it's Lumi. I didn't actually notice this before. That's hilarious. Lumi is one of the people that says, please let creators opt out of this. What about the Chud attack on the I hate this gay cyberpunk dystopia? I know. I've thought about it. I'm still going to be racist. The year of our Lord, 2024, and the people running the internet somehow still don't understand approaches like this just encourage people to get creative with their racism and harassment that is infinitely harder to police and sweep than bog-standard slurs. Exactly. And, of course, let me see, this was on Friday, 12:20 a.m. Let me just look back up and see when this was first posted. This was on August 19th, and Friday was, only about 4 or 5 days ago. So almost immediately after, this is 57 pages, by the way, so I just can't help but wonder if this document was not in the works for quite some time before this post happened. And Sierra here decided that it was just about time to drop it because, the tragic thing about these circumstances is that there are plenty of Google Docs out there that have just never gotten any attention because they've been released during the high point of a streamer's career or when a streamer has a lot of popularity behind them, and so they just don't get read or they get ignored simply because of popularity power. I mean, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes, for example, there's the Tiger situation, of course, where Tiger was at the height of his popularity and then that Google Doc dropped on him and everybody immediately abandoned him and left him for dead, but it doesn't happen as often as it should, honestly. There are some real scumbags out there with very detailed histories of being scumbags that people have just never looked at. Ow. Sorry, give me a second, guys. I have a quite painful neck at the moment. My neck is quite stiff. I really do hope I'm not coming down with anything. I have just a bit of glandular pain on the sides of my neck, and that's usually a sign that I'm trying to fight off some kind of infection or other. I've thought about it, and yes, I'm still going to call Proctor a delightfully friendly and wonderful individual who is very dapper and extremely fashionable. I thank you, Zule. I really appreciate that. It makes me feel much better about myself. Let me get rid of that, and also let me get rid of that. So here we have Sierra is not a tiny channel overall. She has 10.1k followers, so she's not minuscule. I know basically nothing about her. What she says is pretty simple. We're tired of EvilToaster's behind-the-scenes behavior going unchecked and allowing him to mistreat women while still benefiting from his position as a Twitch ambassador / status in the VTuber community. It's meningitis. He's got a day tops, or 3 days tops. I've heard a sudden growth spurt of the neck might be a sign you're turning into a VTuber. Be careful. What? Oh, you... I got that reference. Yeah, that took me a moment, sorry. That's the entertainment industry as a whole, though, filled with very terrible people. Yes, we're going to get into that. Just give me a moment. Here we are. Let me make sure my OBS, that the window is properly working. Yes, it is. Good. There's still quite a lot of people reading this document. Why are you... Oh, that's the Doki bird thing. I do apologize. Google Documents does not have dark mode by default. Actually, let me just check. Did they add dark mode recently? I have no idea. View... No, it doesn't allow me to do that. So we are going to have to tolerate the light mode for a while, my darlings. Also, it looks like I've hit 100 CCV. Welcome everybody who, for some reason, decided to watch this stream. You're all insane. Please do not forget to subscribe, because, not for my sake, if we hit 1k views, I unlock raiding on YouTube, and then we can spread we can spread the love of TVA to... I can drop into as many 2 views as I like and bring my wonderful audience with me, who I am certain will be extremely polite and extremely reasonable. Botted? Excuse me? Not botted. I would never. Botting? Oh, good grief! You accuse me of such dreadful things. Also, hello, mind-eating hat. I don't think I've ever seen you around before. Nice to meet you. Okay. This is, for the most part, this looks huge, but an awful lot of it is just screenshots. So let's start and see how we get through this. The many stories of those manipulated, hurt, and cornered by EvilToaster, his constant overbearing and unwanted intimate behavior towards others, his forceful entry past boundaries, and more. And right away, I have a small problem with this. Because as much as I really despise Toaster, and I despise the people like him, I kind of have issues with this document, and we will get into that. What he means to say is, I want to raid Mozu and Amiya and Kirsha and Sleepy, and... I mean, I wouldn't raid Amiya because Amiya is a perfect and wonderful cinnamon roll who is too good for this sinful earth. Amiya is one of the VTubers that I really, really like, that I deliberately never interact with, because she is so perfect and so innocent and such a nice person that I think that, yeah, Amiya, as John VTuber said, Amiya deserves better than any of us. I have no contact with Amiya simply because she is such a lovely person. Amiya also has raids turned off. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder why. She does have a very parasocial fan base. I would not want to anger those people either. I know they kind of are a bit overbearing about her, and she's had to tell them off a few times before. Asihara adds 2 pixels to Proctor's PNG neck every time he retweets spicy fan art. I almost never retweet spicy fan art, actually, except for Ouch I Hit Me. I make sure to retweet every single thing that Ouch I Hit Me puts out, because my goodness, that man can draw women like, oh yes. Oh yes, that man is just absolutely amazing. She totally baits the parasocialism, though. I mean, she can if she wants to. I have no problem with that. I mean, the one thing you can say about Amiya is that she knows how to... She knows how to tempt men in interesting ways. She doesn't need to show tits to make herself incredibly desirable. Well, because she got raids consisting of stupid kids asking if she plays Fortnite. Why? Who the hell would raid Army with an audience asking if she played Fortnite? That's really strange. But Mozu, I would probably raid, most definitely, because I really like Mozu, and she's actually acknowledged my existence before, so... And again, I think Mozu is the kind of person who could take being raided by a TVA group. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that Mozu knows what TVA is, and she's kind of acknowledged that in various ways. I know for a fact that some of the... what the hell was... I keep wanting to say V-Reverie, but no. It was, like, Nene Amano's Pet Corporation, or whatever the hell it's called. Like, their moderators used to read TVA. Proctor just doesn't want to interact with her because she's too pure. Yes, I love Mozu and her mommy milkers. Yes, Mozu honestly has one of the most... yes, please... models in all of VTubing. She knows what she's doing, which is hilarious considering that what we know about her PL is that she's kind of a disaster area in many ways, which I'm fine with. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. But yeah, I am never not going to be intensely attracted to that particular model of hers. That's probably one of the best. Mozu literally has, I think, one of the best models in all of VTubing. Unironically, one of the best models in all of VTubing. Okay, we're good. Anyway, let's not be distracted too much. Let's get into this document. The following document is not made to incite harassment or harm to anyone involved. no, you definitely made this to attack his career. I don't like it when documents start like this, because no, there is no reason not to make a document like this if you're not planning on attacking somebody's career. It's just fact. That's how you get people to stop. It's that simple. You threaten their career. Rather, its purpose is to highlight EvilToaster's repeated behavior of controlling others, disregarding and overstepping boundaries, dismissing valid criticism, and generally preying on women within content creation. We want to bring awareness to this repeated behavior to help others who may have experienced this and not realize his manipulation, prevent more people from falling victim to him, and keep a public account of all experiences. While most people of this document are women/female presenting, we also want to note that men/masculine presenting people have also been affected that are not in this document, and probably many more that have not yet spoken to me/publicly. I disagree. I don't think it was meant to attack his career. I think this Google Doc was made to avoid him from essaying someone at the next convention. I kind of disagree. I genuinely don't think there's any point in making any of these. I mean, what's the outcome of this? You are trying to damage somebody's reputation. It's that simple. I love Magna Carta disclaimers. Yeah, I don't like it when people pretend that they're not trying to damage somebody's career in some way, because there's no way. You literally cannot expose somebody for bad behavior without also attacking their career. And let's be blunt, unless you damage their career, they are just going to do the same thing. Like, when has a Google document, name one case. I challenge everybody in my chat right now. Name a single case in the entire history of the internet where a Google document or something, or an expose similar to it, has been released, and the person who was subject to that document has made a sincere and frank apology for everything, and then turned their entire career around and never repeated the same mistakes. And I'm not talking about performative apologies either. I'm talking about genuine examples where you can point to and say, this person has turned their life around as a result of that Google document, and I am happy that document was made because it was a wake-up call for them to improve their life and become a better person. I would bet you that has never happened once ever. I agree with your assessment of Mozu and Amir. I mean, of course, it's an objectively correct assessment. You're asking the impossible, Proctor-sama. I mean, I don't think it's impossible. Good grief, my concurrent viewers. This is so stupid. I'm going to post this in Discord. This always triggers me, and I notice it far more now that I have 2 monitors and I can look at my CCV in real time much more easily. Because this is what YouTube does. This is just what YouTube does, and it's so irritating. I'll just post it in VTuber discussion. How on earth can YouTube do this? I just don't get it. How can it show me 2 different numbers on the exact same page? He can number friend in real life. Look, I don't even care about the CCV itself. It just irritates me that YouTube cannot make up its mind. And now one concurrent viewer thing has gone up to 105, the other has gone down to 99. It really triggers me. It really triggers me that YouTube cannot manage this. You have more than Nenkan Alice. I mean, hasn't Nenkan Alice only streamed like once in the last 4 months? So it's not hard. Okay, let's get into this. What's most important to keep in mind while reading through this document is the power imbalance between Toaster and the women they interact with. In the content creation space, EvilToaster is connected to a lot of public figures with numbers backing them. Beyond that, these public figures are incredibly respected within the community. People rarely speak out about how Toaster acts behind the scenes because they do not want to burn bridges with people associated with him. When people have spoken out, EvilToaster purposefully ignores any and all drama so as not to call attention to it. However, behind the scenes, he consistently badmouths people that he feels wronged them to said high-profile content creators. This is widely known behind the scenes, so people have valid reasoning for thinking they would be ostracized by a good portion of the VTubing community if they ever spoke out about his actions. If people are scared to even speak out against Toaster, it's not difficult to understand why people will give him the benefit of the doubt and let him push boundaries that they normally would not. I hope this helps people understand why this document is necessary and how he is harming the VTubing community as a whole. And I completely agree with this assessment, actually. This is something that an awful lot of VTubers have talked to me about directly. There are people, of course, like Kirsha, who has talked about it directly as well on her streams. There are dozens of little people like this, that EvilToaster himself is a nobody. He has an average of 230 CCV, he is not interesting, he does not have much influence outside of being a Twitch ambassador, but he's friends with people like Zentreya, and so he can get away with stuff, and he can harass people, and he has the power to basically end people's careers, and that's not healthy at all. And this also really indicts people like Zentreya as well, because if Zentreya is choosing to hang out with and support and blackmail people, or rather blacklist people from things, because Zentreya has an enormous amount of influence, and I really don't know why, because he's literally just a man wearing a dragon avatar who used to goon out in VR chat. He is just like Evilito. I mean, in fairness, as much as I find Evilito kind of stupid and disgusting, so how... I don't think that Evilito has ever really tried to blacklist anybody. I mean, he spoke out in support of Kenji and so on, but I have never heard anybody say, oh, Evilito was blacklisting me behind the scenes or talking bad about me behind my back. Maybe they have. I just have not personally heard about it. Please feel free to enlighten me. Zen was just in the VTuber scene early enough to get established. He is what he is. He doesn't pretend to be something he isn't, TBH. I mean, I've seen the Ithashai card that he had made. That is a guy who thinks he is something that he is not, shall we say. AGP, cough, cough, AGP detected. If you're willing to reach out and extroverted enough to juggle social groups, you'll get a massive network in VTubing over time. Geek has talked about it. Yes. And that is why people like Kirsha and Pippa tend to be very isolated, because, my goodness, they are all absolutely terrified of interaction on any level. And I really wish that I could change that, because they deserve far more. Cubano Man on the Discord says, according to my analytics, it depends. Sometimes it doesn't count mobile friends. I have no idea why on earth he would be watching this stream on mobile. I don't even think he's an AGP anymore. He just realized pretending to be one is more profitable, possibly. Even tried throwing Riro under the bus. Riro Ron, like the girl who supposedly slept with that idol manager? Is that who you're talking about? I just want to note for future, if people mention a VTuber in my chat, usually their first name is not enough for me to understand who they are. If you could use the full name, I would really appreciate it, because it's like with Lumi. If you say Lumi in my chat, I'm like, which? Lemon Lumi? Are you talking about Lumi from Under the Tea? Are you talking about Finnish Lumi? I have no idea. Miss Silly Pills? Oh, okay. They deserve more. Protocols is beaten. I don't know what to do in response to what to say in response to that, honestly. But yes, they definitely deserve a lot more. Well, Kirsha does. Pippa, well, Pippa's already taken. Pippa is has been culturally enriched, shall we say, by the wonders of the heart of ancient China. Shall we say? She has she has been enamored in that regard. There's getting to be enough VTubers with similar names that it's hard to tell them apart by just by one name. Like if you say Vesper, are you talking about the Bug Girl or the Grandpire? Evilito is a snake and uses being black to avoid getting called as bullshit. That I completely agree with. He most definitely is a snake. He was definitely at V-Expo. I'm annoyed that I didn't reach out. But didn't have a word with him or something. But Bing Shilling? I have no idea what Bing Shilling is. I have no idea where that meme comes from. Twitch ambassador situation. EvilToaster is currently under scrutiny for belittling other content creators for disagreeing with his proposed Twitch feature, Knock, and ignoring people's rightful criticism, going so far as to mock the situation in his Twitch title when he went live in the following day. As of writing this, there is still no mention of the backlash he's faced or an apology for his original remarks anywhere. This is a public presentation of his typical behavior, to dismiss people's feelings and problems with him, as well as never taking accountability for his actions and words. I love Proctor's utter obliviousness and contempt towards normidom. I hate normies. I deeply despise them. It's the John Cena talking about ice cream in Chinese video. I have never seen that in my entire life, and nor do I wish to. You don't want to know him. Literally, when I debuted a week later, there was another person. They're stealing your ideas. You should start a war on Twitter, mate. That was free clout. You should have called them out. You could say it was person. Oh, I hate that I find that funny. My personal experience. I'm including my personal experience with EvilToaster because I want people to know that I am not impartial when it comes to EvilToaster. The Twitch ambassador situation is a completely separate incident, and I would have commented on anyone's demeaning words towards the community they're meant to represent. But he also further proved to me that EvilToaster will never take accountability for what he's done behind closed doors if he won't even do it for a public instance. EvilToaster and I became fast friends about 2 years ago. I thought Toaster was an amazing person, kind, intelligent, and giving. However, looking back, I fear I was under quite a bit of manipulation regarding Toaster. One of the first things Toaster will tell to anyone is that he craves affection, mostly from women from what I've seen. Women are truly the worst judges of character, I agree. Does I'm not sure if Thrang or anyone else is in the chat, but does anyone have that that clip of Null talking about the creepiest kind of men that want to be with women? I'm sure you know what I mean if you've seen it before. The one when he talks about like sniffing their hair and so on, and those are the creepy people. I would love to play that because I feel that it is very relevant in Toaster's situation. Bing chilling is a romanization of the Chinese term for ice cream, ging kui ling, I think. Hello, small tank, by the way. Yeah, I know which one you are talking about. The one where he says that hate ones that only want to hug and cuddle are the sex pests. Yes, definitely. And if you're going to express an interest in a woman, at least express it in an honest fashion. This tweet is so wild, I don't think it's not possible to make a creepier tweet. Yes, this is one of the most famous tweets that EvilToaster has ever created. Every convention is another reminder that I'm not one of the girlies, and I'm never gonna get the kind of treatment and affection they give each other, even though I try to connect with them. I've gotten better at dealing with that fact over time, but it still hurts to think about. EvilToaster is sad. Oh, brother, it gets worse, says the man that writes the Iliad on VTuber's DMs. I think you are pretty honest about your liking of Kirsche. Yes. No, I'm not going to say that out loud. That'll get clipped. Holy 2000s nerd emoji. Do we have to scroll in a little bit? There we go. Tell me if the chat is blocking the screen, by the way. It's going to be a little bit awkward. I know what you mean, and I'm glad for that. Honestly, I think I do good in trying to be like that. I'm not escaping the man class position. Oh, God. Anytime soon. So it's still important that I be better for that, but no matter what, I'm just going to notice the small kind of ways people I want to be closer to close me off because of how I'm perceived by them or by society. Which is just going to make me think more about how things would be different otherwise, who I would be closer to, who I would let me tell them more of my feelings, who would let me tell them more of my feelings, who would let me touch them. There's so many instances of this just seeing in front of me through my whole life where people I'm genuinely good friends with will stop me at a point where they let women they know less go past. I can't really hate anyone for it, though. I just hate the game, but who doesn't? Hey, girlies, let me touch you. Oh yes, girlies, please. Just let me put my hands on you very gently. It's okay. It's not going to be very long. But we've talked about our feelings. We've talked about our feelings in DMs an awful lot, haven't we? And yes, I've told you so many times how I really feel. You know, this means our relationship has progressed, hasn't it? It means our relationship has progressed, and you know the people on the internet, they told me that this is how things go. So can I just gently run my fingers through your hair, my sweet darling, who I have revealed all of my secrets to. We are an item, aren't we? Oh yes, we are. Oh yes, and I have the basement all set up for you, my sweetheart. Oh yes, I have everything prepared, and once you are down there, you will never get away, and I will show you what it is truly like to have a real man in your life. I would not super chat this ASMR stream. He does this a bit too well. Someone send that to Kitchen. Oh no. Where I start, right? This is what I get when Thrang ignores me in favor of moderating Matty. Well, that was way too much. He also expressed this sentiment to me many times. In the beginning of our friendship, as you can see above, he desperately wanted intimacy with women, which he framed as casually saying, "I love you," calling people wife, and generally wholesome flirting. This turns out not to be true, which you can read in the entirety of this doc. Even in the screenshot above, he says, "Who would let me touch them?" I also want to point out that Toaster understands they're seen as a man. That's because they are a man. And have, as they call it, a male class position. That's because they're a man. They have a penis. They are a man. I also want to point out that Toaster understands... Oh, I've already read that, sorry. He likes to say that he's aware of this, but then continues to pressure women despite knowing he's not one of the girlies. And frankly, it isn't because of his gender or his perceived gender, but because of how he constantly pushes boundaries and makes people, mostly women, uncomfortable. Gee, I wonder why. I wonder why he would possibly think that this is an okay thing to do. It's not as if this has literally been happening for years and years and years and years, and the entirety of modern society has bent over backwards to enable this behavior and punish women who call it out. I wonder why he would think he can get away with this. It's so strange. As a flirtatious person, I was fine flirting with him casually. However, I was in a relationship, and I told him that if I thought or my boyfriend thought anything was too far, I would put a stop to it. And here is where I start casting the first stones, okay? You cannot be like this. You can't say, "Oh, I was fine with him flirting to me casually." If you have a boyfriend, if you are open about a boy, how do you think your boyfriend would feel? Is your boyfriend a cuckold? If I was in a relationship with a woman and that woman was flirting with other people in DMs, not just like there's something that I understand. For example, I know that there are VTubers out there who do like ASMR streams and do a bit of like bait with their models and so on, who have real-life boyfriends, okay? Some of them are honest about it, some of them aren't. I think that, like, having a big titty model or whatever that you jiggle around the screen and so on, if you have a boyfriend in real life, it's a little bit of... if your boyfriend is perfectly fine with it, put it this way. If I was Kirscha's boyfriend, I would have zero problem with any of the kind of things that she says to chat. Because my attitude is, it's very obvious that you are not doing this to try and extort money from people. You are not leading them on. You are not pretending to be something you're not. I'm okay with that because it's all in the spirit of like good fun and people are like that. However, there is a difference between that and literally enabling flirting. And Cece here, I'm sorry, deserves everything she gets for all of this. The hypocrisy of this document is starting to become very obvious at this point. And again, EvilToaster is completely in the wrong. He should not be doing this. However, I am getting very strong Torakura vibes already. At best, she was doing it because she was treating Toaster like a woman, something they do repeatedly in the doc. I have not gotten to that yet. But that's an entire issue with their behavior in itself. Proctor, you would be here. Kirscha is not gay, and neither am I. We have to prepare for the inevitable iDubbbz moment, chat. No, that is never going to happen. Kirscha would put his ass on the street corner. You people... One day my heterosexuality shall be proven beyond doubt. How have you not seen the John Cena ice cream vid? Because I'm not a normie and I despise all normie memes. I hate memes. Well, I don't hate memes, but I like 1% memes. Proctor is a heavily closeted straight man. Anyway, let me just scroll down a tiny bit longer. Okay, it's mostly screenshots. So here we are. So CC... If we get too close and you wanted more, we'd both have to deny ourselves something we'd want to explore. And Cece says, yes, and I'm capable of doing that. And a crush is just a crush and nothing more. It's easy to cease because compared to the relationship I have now, there's no reason to want another when it jeopardizes this one. And Toaster is like, I see. Cece, what are you thinking? EvilToaster. I'm just thinking it would be a shame if it came to a point where we would have to hold ourselves back, is all. So far, I don't feel like I've had to hold anything back, which has been incredibly great and refreshing feeling for a new friend that I so value a lot. I value a lot for that. It's just so comfortable. And Cece, I hope you can still value me, despite the potential need to deny yourself something and condition yourself. EvilToaster, I value you even as just a fellow creator, yes. But the connection beyond that so far is very unique to me, so it's hard not to want to explore. Which is why I ask things like that. But I'm not going to do anything you don't want me to, or anything, and I'm getting so much from you already, the way things are so. It's not like I'm dissatisfied or anything. I refuse to believe this people is real. As we go along, please notice that none of the women he's talking to have ever said, no, stop, leave me alone. Yes, Murray, actually, I'm going to put... I need to put you in timeout. Was that not what I wanted to do? I'm going to pin that message because this calls back to another stream that I did. It was one of my first really successful streams, actually, and one of the streams that I genuinely really enjoyed doing. It was the Torakura allegations, because Torakura was a VTuber and a massive sex pest who literally had got into the DMs of hundreds of women and flirted with them and made advancements on them and everything. And he was accused by a friend of his of sexually harassing her, basically committing sexual assault, which as far as I can tell was nothing more than maybe, the woman claimed that a third party witnessed this and could verify her entire story. As far as I'm aware, that third party has never come forward and verified it under any circumstances. The worst thing that Tora was accused of was basically trying to kiss somebody when they didn't want to. And they spun that out into, basically borderline grape on their document. However, they also pointed out after they made this document, a whole ton of people came out and said, "Oh yes, Torakura, he sexually harassed me in DMs," and they released tons of messages of him so-called sexually harassing them. And here was the problem. A lot of people also were very clearly leading him on and letting him do this. And eventually, a few other people came out and said, yeah, he tried this on with me. I said no to him, and he completely respected that I said no to him and stopped doing it immediately. And from then on, we had a perfectly normal conversation. And again, I don't think that it is right for a male VTuber or even a female VTuber to go into somebody's DMs and say, "Oh yeah, baby, I really want to butter you like a slice of bread and put my salami between you and just slide it in and out just like that. Oh yes." Like, that's not something you should do to a random DM. But, however, why are you like this? That's how I open my emails to apply for a small business loan. Oh god, oh my side, that actually hurt. Proctor, in the name of Jesus Christ, please get laid. But yes, you shouldn't do that to random VTubers. Please don't do that. That's my advice. However, if a VTuber then responds with, "Oh yeah, that's really nice. That's a really lovely message to see. I'm amazed you think of me like that. Please subscribe to my OnlyFans." That VTuber does not then get the authority or the moral high ground to later say, "Ow, I was sexually harassed in my DMs by this disgusting degenerate. He objectified me. By the way, every 500 likes I get on this post, I create a new nude that I post for free on Twitter." Like, that's literally one of the people that did that. She said, "Oh no, I was harassed by Torakura. It was really triggering and upsetting." And then underneath that, you go through her profile, and yeah, she's giving completely free nudes of herself in her Twitter DMs. Believe all women, Proctor? I really don't want to. I don't believe women because women are have a bad habit of not telling the truth. Vintage Bass Archive gonna ban Proctor now. I'm quitting TVA forever after this stream. Is that supposed to discourage me, super duper? That's not the kind of thing you say if you want to make me stop doing this. Let me just say that. I clearly set a boundary here. No, you didn't. This is an outright... If CC thinks this is a boundary, they're insane. And Toaster says, "We'd both have to deny ourselves something we'd want to explore. But I literally said, it's easy to cease because there's no apparent reason, there's no reason to want another person or relationship. I wanted to let Toaster know I really admired his intelligence and his kindness. And while he saw this friend crush as something more than it was, I still expressed to him that I did not want him in any way. I just used that term with a lot of my friends as a way to express admiration." And this is a stupid thing to say. She is either outright lying here or she is incredibly naive, because this does not read like a rejection in any capacity. If I read this and I was doing this to somebody, let's say I had a crush on somebody, we all know who, and I started saying things, I mean, I would never say something this creepy to them, but I said something that was clearly an indication of my interest to them. If they said something like this to me, what I would do is that I would ask directly for clarification. Does this mean that you are encouraging my affections, or are you telling me to go somewhere else? Because this means nothing to me. This implies to me vaguely, and I do mean vaguely, that I should maybe reconsider my interest. But that I would only think of that if I thought about it carefully. And again, I consider myself a pretty well socially versed person. But this is not a rejection. It absolutely is not. It does not read like a rejection, and it absolutely would not come across as a rejection to something like EvilToaster. Really, all you have to say is no, fuck off if they don't get the hint. Again, she's already trying to frame this as like a power imbalance. Oh, I was just a poor VTuber being harassed by this man in my DMs, and he was a Twitch ambassador with big connections. I didn't want to just put him off because, oh dear, that would damage my career. No, as Takadachi just said, I am not interested. That's it. That is all she needed to say. Later on, I expressed to him how men in the past have left me as a friend because they know they won't get anything more out of me. He says he won't, but then says, oh my goodness. This is very Reddit tier spacing too. This kind of annoys me. Let me also just scroll back up in chat for a second to see what people have posted. Ooh, come and smash me like the Brits did Napoleon at Waterloo. This is clearly setting boundaries. This reminds me of a Kirsche clip that I think I might play later on. I'm going to come back to this VOD and make so many sound things for the group called Soundboard. Oh no. Also, guys, remember, most women, when presented with kindness, they won't go, nah, creep, fuck off. People don't like thick blocks of text. I mean, I suppose. A poor 26-year-old tuber, basically a child. I've got a ton of DMs to kind of pings. Oh my goodness, I really hate it when I get tons of pings when I'm starting to do this. Give me a heartbeat. While again, I'm fine with not going past any boundary you decide for how close we should be, I do also hope that you don't end up in a situation where you want to be closer, but either feel like you can't or are forced not to be. Oh, that dirty boyfriend of yours? Oh, I know how it really is. It's okay, girl. I understand. That he holds you back from your true love, your deep, intimate affections for me, the intelligent, the suave, the Twitch ambassador EvilToaster. But don't worry, girlie. Don't worry. I understand. You can't be open about this to me. You've got to maintain standards. You've got to pretend not to be into me. Kirsche streams have to be recorded on IMAX film. The supreme gentleman, EvilToaster, yes. I'm not sure how likely that would be or how likely we'd even get to that level in the first place. But I just wouldn't want you to be in a situation where you felt like you had to hold back. Holding back feels hard sometimes, I guess. Even if I still feel like I have to. But I'm obviously not holding back as much as I have in the past with others. Thank God. I just want to have what you want, whatever that is or will be. And I just fear, from what you've talked about, that there's a possible outcome where you'll be told to distance from me, and neither of us may want it. I wouldn't leave you if that happened, of course, but it would be sad. This sounds so grapey, what the hell? Yeah, this is very, very creepy. He's basically saying, oh, don't worry. I know that your boyfriend is controlling you. I know that he wouldn't approve of our obviously true and honest relationship. He wouldn't want us to be together, but it's okay. I'll hold out for you. My darling, my sweetheart, my wonderful, wonderful little Cece. Oh, I'll wait for you till the ends of the earth, no matter how much you have to stay with that awful controlling man. Oh no, but don't worry, I will remain faithful. I will sit in the chair for as long as I need to be for my princess. While he assures me it's fine, he flips it onto me and again says that it would be sad if I had to further set more boundaries. But of course, this is for my sake and not his. That's how Naganon sounds! Oh, yes. Oh, Naganon. Oh, Naganon. Oh, Naganon. One day, Naganon, I am going to be so entertained at your expense. But let's not get distracted. Ah, Jesus, Naganon nuked from orbit the day of reckoning. Pushing boundaries is typical of Toaster. Further on into our friendship, I brought up how uncomfortable I was with the way he talked about women. Some names are omitted for anonymity. Cece, I think the way you talk about women bothers me. EvilToaster, what? Why? Where? I don't like how you spoke about Milky once she felt emotional/attached towards you. EvilToaster, what part of that? Cece, then you talked about Kisa and made a comment about her incapability to say no to other people, which came off bitter to me. EvilToaster, question mark. Why did that come off as bitter? Cece, because you said she was too popular for you to hang out, so it was hard to make time with her. I think you're looking for romantic relationships rather than platonic ones, or maybe you're feeling the need for close platonic relationships like a best friend. EvilToaster, I hardly even have baseline platonic friendships, save a few people, and all these people have massively less time for me than I have for them. My heart bleeds every day. Cece, I'm not sure how to help. EvilToaster, I don't think there is a way to help. I am such a martyr, my misery is eternal, and the hoes just don't understand my pain. Cece, I think therapy would be good once you move out and you're... Wait, once you move out and you're on your own, does this guy live with his parents? EvilToaster, I already called my therapist. What did they say? 28th probably next week. Good. I might be able to hang out with Kisa tomorrow afternoon, assuming no one snatches her up or anything. Cece, are you talking about me specifically? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I would really love for Cece to provide more context to this. If this guy is living with his parents, oh my goodness. Proctor, you live with your parents. Yeah, but I'm not trying to groom two views while I'm living with my parents, okay? Pardon me. EvilToaster, well, funny coincidence. That's not a creepy thing to say whatsoever. Since that's happened like 3 times... No, actually. Trying to schedule anything with her is hard because she's popular, and I don't think she's the type to say no, which is concerning in and of itself. You really like Kirsche? Yeah, but Kirsche's a 4 view, okay? I'm not grooming a 2 view when it's Kirsche, alright? As for what Milky experienced, Toaster talked to me about her and him becoming intimate. Kirsche is a whole lot of woman, though. Yes, she is. She's exactly enough women for me. Although the way he had portrayed their intimacy differed greatly from what was actually occurring. Really? I'm so shocked. Toaster had mentioned having the possibility of a relationship with Milky and becoming more intimate. However, Milky had only expressed friendship and the platonic intimacy that comes from that. Any emotional attachment was strictly platonic, yeah, like friends with benefits, and all mentions of a relationship were simply those of friendship. She had never encouraged or communicated to Toaster that it was anything more than a friendship. That the way he portrayed his dynamic with Milky was grossly misrepresented, and instead was expressed in a very different light than how it actually was. Talk about contradictions. Kirsche would eat you alive? Yes. I would let her. EvilToaster, I would have played today, but I was showering with Milky. Cece, you were what? EvilToaster, we showered at the same time while on call and talked in the shower. Cece, I'm praying for you. EvilToaster, lol, praying for what? Cece, just in general. EvilToaster, I'm more worried for her now than myself personally. What a weird emote. EvilToaster, yeah, she admits she's attached to me and is kinda upset about that fact because she doesn't like being vulnerable. But I don't mind it right now. Her response is basically, you need Jesus. Yeah, I like how CC at this point, at the very least, is just like, WTF have I got myself into? What kind of man am I talking to right now? Sorry, I need a sip of water. All these voices are kind of doing my throat in. Toaster often talked about Milky and how much comfort and intimacy she brought him, but how it made him defensive because he wasn't used to it. Despite this, he was still fine for it to continue, and often expressed how nice it was for him to enjoy what Milky gave him, all without returning her feelings and knowing it was hurting her to be more attached than he was. Brother, if she was attracted to you, she has worse standards than many VTubers that I know. I later learned that this was misrepresenting what happened between them. The shower call was just voice, no cam. It's clear that Toaster wanted a more sexual intimacy than Milky, which you can see later in Milky's experience. Between what he said about Milky and Kisa, both people he was romantically interested in, I started to feel weird about it and confronted him. Thank you, winner Toast. What the heck is that little emoji? I can't tell. Oh, sorry, I haven't scrolled out a bit, so I'll scroll out just a tiny bit. Okay, so, for me, it read as something that didn't really fit my perception of you. I get that. I felt that when you were saying something that you had no intention behind, it came off to me as if there was more under those words, because in my past, a lot of people have had these secondary meanings, and I'm not someone who usually judges anyone at all for more surface-level behaviors, because they just don't even come up on my radar. But I've never understood why people are judgmental over weird, minute things like that. I understand that. He says that an awful lot. Next, he's going to do coke and fulfill the Rakita arc. How is there intimacy when they've never met in person? You have no idea how parasocial people are these days. I understand that, and I feel the same, really. I never really see people's non-harmful behaviors as a problem or inconvenience. It is just part of who they are. They came up on my radar as something to judge them for or distance myself from them over, but just as part of knowing them and adding to it to a pile of things I notice about them. So for you, my friend Toaster, to seemingly suddenly making these comments, I feel very weird, and I think it was all in frame of reference for you branching out to Milky in a more intimate way. And that's why I had that relationship lens on it, because I feel like you were searching out partners. Yeah? It makes sense that you were worried about me at that time in regards to Milky. I was fully aware going into the connection with Milky that there were circumstances from both our lives that would have some influence over how we approach each other, and I took initiative to make that very open and clear from both our ends to ensure nothing too silly would happen. And I think her and I are in a healthy position now because of that. I did go into it thinking there was a possible outcome of her and I progressing to a relationship status. I was going to get my V card finally stamped. But I didn't consider it a high likelihood or something that I was going to pursue at all costs. Yeah, because I have like 10 side hoes. It's just that the thought that it was possible and being aware of it. Oh, and being aware of it in combination with knowing how both her and I were approaching each other, given our circumstances, helped ensuring that our conversations were healthier and helped me know what to communicate. That was really creepy. The coded writing here is him pasting what I've said to him and responding to it. That's pretty obvious. Even here, it's clear that Toaster has intentions when getting close to women. He says there was a possible outcome of her and I progressing to a relationship status. A lot of the time, Toaster will go back and forth between never expecting anything from women, that's nonsense, he always expects the same thing, and a few moments later will admit that he does have expectations. This, coupled with the fact that he openly admits that he didn't mind Milky being attracted to him and not reciprocated, was a huge red flag to me. It felt like he was using Milky. This is all from limited knowledge, as I didn't ask Milky about any of this at the time, since it was her business and I didn't want her to feel like Toaster was talking about her behind her back, or I was judging her for being with Toaster. However, the reality of the situation is vastly different from how Toaster depicts it to me, which you can read in Milky's account. What page am I on? Does this go to a different page of the document? Yes, it does. Okay. One thing I think sparked a reaction in me was you saying trouble saying no to anyone about Kisa. Because for me, anyone saying that about a woman is makes me want to take a step back. Because I feel like there's a very womanly struggle for someone to comment on it. It felt very personal. I know you didn't mean it like that. He did. But it definitely gripped at something in me that I was like, whoa, it just felt charged. This woman's grammar is atrocious. But I think it's my own, anger towards the socialization that leads women to placidity. And for someone who has the social presence of a man, commenting on it in what came off as a frustrated tone, I definitely felt my chest puff out and I got defensive. Too silly, this person speaks like a Tumblr refugee. Can't you get someone on to read the girl's part? Probably, but probably not. MF had a VTuber attached to him, and instead of going for her, he had to harass others, Lamau. Well, of course. He's just far too... He's got a big heart, okay? What you don't understand about EvilToaster is that he has enough love for all the women that he knows, okay? He's a wonderful person. He can milady with the best of them. He can say milady to every milady, all right? When you're such a nice guy like Toaster, you shouldn't just be limited to one woman, okay? Women and being with one person, okay, that works for some people. It works for the lesser men, okay? The lesser men in life. But Toaster is just better than those men, okay? He deserves more than one woman. His eyes are too visible to be a Hiram protagonist. I understand well that this is a struggle for women, and given Kisa's history, it is likely something she deals with very often, that side hoe. When I commented on it and even just observed it to myself, because I am a very perceptive person, ask me about my views on atheism sometime. However, in the context of the conversation with you, I brought it up as a point that makes it difficult to find more time with her, and how it frustrated me. It didn't frustrate me as something personal from her against me, but more so because it was adding to the pile of connections I have with people where their life circumstances, where neither of us have control over, have kept us apart. Those poor V-tweeters, those poor VTubers, they just won't get their lives in order to be with me. They won't come and live in my basement with me. They won't come and eat my mother's cooking with me. Ask me about atheism, I am very smart. You're totally right to feel angry about, the subjugation of women and all that. And it's not up to me to decide when the effects of that trigger a response from you. It's not up to you. You're just getting I understand, sweetheart. I understand, honey. I understand. You're just a poor woman. You get attacks of the vapors, all right? It's not your fault. I understand. It's not your fault that your brain just sometimes overheats when you have to comprehend these big man thoughts, okay? But I am a nice guy. I understand, okay? I understand that you just can't help yourself, okay? The frustrated tone you heard from me was the same frustration you have about it, because I understand why it happens, and I'm angry about it too. While that specific societal dynamic doesn't affect me directly, It does affect the people I care about and makes connecting with each other harder for both parties. EvilToaster typically psychoanalyzes people without ever consenting to this or desiring to this. I was incredibly upset that he talked about Kisa in this way because as a woman, the notion that we have a hard time saying no to people is honestly true. Yes, and predators like him understand that. But Toaster should have respected that instead of commenting on it out of frustration that she was saying no to him. Sorry. Whether or not this was true of Kissa, I wasn't particularly close to her at this time, but I also knew Toaster wasn't, so I felt it disrespectful for him to say that about her, even as an objective observation, as he liked to put it. While Toaster did try to resolve this issue and I originally accepted his stance, looking back on it, it still doesn't sit right with me. Yeah, because he was just fishing for the words that would get you out of his hair. Despite Toaster noting that Kisa, according to him, had problems saying no to people, he continued to pressure her to hang out with him. The following is Kisa's experience with Toaster and how she felt about him and the way he treated her. Kisa's experience. Toaster started talking to me more often after finding out about the relationship I left, and I thought that was a little weird. Boy, I can't imagine why. But I just gave him the benefit of the doubt, and he's just trying to be nice, since I was going through a hard time. These types always harp on about connecting. This is so painful, at least 3 people will come out of this document turning into Rin Penrose. I don't blame them. Don't let your silly woman brain get in the way of me making the smart decisions. Man just trying to lay up the rebound. Sorry, my throat's a bit sore. Give me 1 second. I just need to grab something and try my best to open this. Oh. Nope, that jar ain't opening. That's really annoying. That's really irritating. After talking for a bit about what I had gone through, he also shared his experiences with similar past relationships. So I just thought he would understand how I was feeling because of the issues he went through too. I trusted that he was just being a good friend because he would listen to my venting and offer reassurance about things I was worried about from what I was used to with my ex. No, he wasn't. He was just listening in order to figure out how to exploit you. Wants to marry Kirsche, can't open a pickle jar. This jar is about 3 years old, and I'm pretty sure the contents have vacuum sealed the top, which is literally impossible to open. I have never really had many friends because my ex would get upset with me if I did, so my social anxiety only got worse from these 8 years. Because of my social anxiety, I tend to worry that everyone hates me or finds me boring, or like they would feel pity for me and feel obligated to chat with me. Thus, I would not hang out with people much, and when people would hang out with me or plan collabs, I would get really shy/nervous and typically find an excuse to not do it. What a shock. Toaster had quickly started to want to hang out by playing a game together or just voice chat, and that made me uncomfortable given I wasn't used to that. Given what I wasn't used to, and that he started only chatting with me after I got more out of my past relationship. I felt like it would be mean to just say that I'm not comfortable with it, so I would just make up an excuse whenever he would ask until I felt overwhelmed by how often he would keep asking, that I just played with him once to not feel so guilty anymore. I would tell him that I was busy a lot, but that never stopped him from asking. Yeah, because you never told him no. Then one day, I guess he just got fed up with me not playing with him, and he sent me that long message about how he's trusting me to reach out to him, and he's using that little amount of energy he has left to keep up with me and chat/plan things to do. And that long message just really didn't sit right with me, because my narcissistic ex would say similar things that would make me feel guilty if I don't do something he's asking of me. I then explained to him how that was not okay, and how it made me feel, to which he apologized. But it didn't feel genuine, and like he was only saying it because he didn't want me to stop talking to him. From then on, I didn't enjoy conversing with him, and we didn't talk much after that happened. Throughout the whole time of talking with him, I had always felt like he wanted more than just a friendship out of it, and the regular comments he left on Twitter on my selfies... Please don't tell me this woman does nudes. And comments he made about my voice made me uncomfortable. Have you tried breaking it? I might have to. And here we have another DM. Oh dear. EvilToaster. I will let you know ASAP if there's anything to worry about. Kisa is very nice, though I'm going to try and hang out with her more and help her get acquainted. She's in a very similar situation I was in with my ex, where she never had a lot of room to make friends, but now could really use some, but has no frame of reference for what good friends and relationships are, you know? Yep, she is super sweet. I'm excited to see her around more. Did you just see the selfie she posted? Oh, cried, screamed. Oh dear, oh dear. Kisa, tell me more fun facts about you. The dress is so pretty. Though depending on if that's the only window of time you think you'll have, I can cut it shorter. Assuming you don't have time now. This is something I really find disgusting about a lot of male VTubers. They have that... They end every sentence with this emote. I really find these emotes incredibly annoying. I just finished exercising and taking the photos. I'm sorry. What if I want to? I would feel bad if I couldn't make time somehow if you cancelled me for it. You cancelled for me? I'm catching up listening to your ASMR stream when you did a very good voice. Your voice is perfect. Oh, whoa. Sounds good. We'll find some time. I don't like this because it's just kind of disjointed. I wish there was more context here. Just scroll down a tiny bit there. This is more coherent. I'm sorry. Pushing boundaries. So turns out I ended early anyway, just for you, my sweetheart. Just 'cause I could use the extra time off. Ooh, nice. Do you want to play Valorant with me? If not, that's okay. You can relax too. Didn't she say above... Toaster had quickly wanted to hang out by playing a game together or just voice chat that made me uncomfortable. This is just a little bit of a contradiction. This does not sound like uncomfortable. Hey, you want to play Valorant? Sex offender in the making? The forced pet names are so cringe, I agree. Yeah, let me hear back from Zen. She wants to play Apex, but I don't think I'm ranking today, but maybe she's up for pub trios and you can come join. If not, I'll play Valo. If you feel like playing with Zen, that is. Otherwise, yeah, I'll log into Valo. I unfortunately don't have Apex on my little bro's PC, and the internet is just a bit slow here, so the download would take a bit. But you and Zen can play Apex. Logging on to Valorant. I'm logging on to Valorant, baby. Baby, baby, baby. For you, I would play Valorant. Don't you just feel my love oozing off me? I'm playing Valorant for you, baby. Just for you. I checked your mutual friends to see who I could invite collabs later, and it's just Cece. I guess I'll plan for that sometime in the future. Would you like to game in a bit before you have to go set up for the show? I'm gonna go sleep. We hang out in the afternoon, yes? When you say afternoon, what time do you mean, baby? Are you gaming capable tonight? That is okay. I hope it is going well. Are you doing anything tomorrow afternoon? And when I say afternoon, I mean like from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. range. I hope Proctor's parents don't hear him voice act like a creep. No, that's why I'm in a shed. Now, again, the problem is she's not really taking a stand of any sort. You seem to be enjoying doing all the different voices. Yeah, it's quite fun. This is all basically... yeah, women need to learn, they need to be very blunt with people like this. They need to say, don't call me, I'll call you. Even I've had problems with this before, where I've had to, like, say to people, and not even women, just, hey, how do you want to structure this? Like, the way I go about things is that I ask people in this specific way. Like, is this okay? Do you mind if I ask you every so often, hey, can you do this? Would you prefer it if you just came to me and said this kind of thing to me when you wanted to? Because the problem is, assumptions are very bad for these kind of relationships. And I don't even mean like romantic relationships like business partnerships too. Because it's been my experience that people will be like, hey, I want to do stuff with you. And you say no. And their reaction is, oh, so that means you never want to do anything with me ever again. And they completely stop asking. Other people, you'll say no to them, and 20 minutes later they'll say, so, you said no 20 minutes ago, but you said you were doing something, and this is something that happens with autistic people a lot. So, in all honesty, this is something that I will actually give EvilToaster just a tiny bit. When you're an autistic person, if people are not explicit with you about the terms of an interaction, it is extremely difficult to kind of mentally decide, is the way that I'm doing things the way the other person wants me to do? And that's why I try, when I interact with people, to say, you know, what are the criteria of this interaction going forward? Like, do you want me to talk to you about this? Or do you want to come to me and talk to me about this? Like, what is convenient for you? Because otherwise, you get situations where streamers are like, I really want to collab with this person, but they said no the last time, and I think that means they don't want to collab with me ever, so I'm just going to not say anything to them and just really hope that they ask me, because I'm sure that if they want to collab with me, they'll ask. And meanwhile, the other person is like, that person, I feel really bad for saying no to them, but I really hope they say yes, they ask me again, because I would really love to collab with them. So next time they ask, I really wish that I really am going to say yes, but then they never ask. And so the other person is like, I think they hate me now. They don't want to collab with me. Look, they're collabing with somebody else. This relationship is clearly over. That's like 80% of VTubers. Yes, exactly. I think that making the terms of an interaction clear at the start is incredibly important. You should always do that. If you don't do that, you are going to have a problem. If someone, Rise287, if someone blew me off like 6 times in a row, I'd take the hint. Yeah, but again, some autistic people just can't. Eventually, Kisa tried to stop him from initiating Hangouts and told him she'd be the one to approach him. He immediately doubts this will happen. I love how he does that, like that confused thing. I mean, it doesn't gotta be this week. But I get nervous planning things. EvilToaster. I understand. Is there something I could do? Or some other way to go about it that you'd prefer? I know you said to just keep checking up. Okay. If he's telling the truth here, this reframes this entire interaction. If she actually did say, yeah, this is the way that you should talk to me, this is the way that you should contact me, to be blunt, EvilToaster is starting to look a bit more understandable here. Again, EvilToaster is a terrible, awful, stupid sex pest. However, at the same time, I can't help but acknowledge that he's not actually doing things in the entirely wrong way here, because, again, if this is true, because she doesn't provide context, at least as far as I can tell just yet. I don't want to stress you out. What if I'm the one who plans it? Does that make it easier instead of asking you when the best time is? Kisa, I feel it would just be the least stressful if I just approach you whenever I'm able to play. EvilToaster, will you do that? Sorry, I need to wipe my eye. I've just got something in my eye. That's really annoying. Ow! Give me a second, guys, please. Oh, I just realized it's pouring with rain outside that I need to go for a wee soon. His behavior is repeatedly enabled and nobody puts their foot down. Yeah, exactly, Prune Juice Guy. He seems like a gooner and a massive autismo R-word so far. Yes, he is rather retarded. Autists mimic what they see. If all they know is online weirdos, that's what they become. I kind of agree, although I don't really want to give him that much of an excuse. Again, I think that he does have some level of excuse here. He shouldn't have done this, but at the same time, Kisa seems to just be misrepresenting her side of the story just a tiny amount. Just a tiny amount. These ladies are not saying no and going along with this dude's weird-ass shit. Yes, I agree. I need to mimic everyone at TVA. Probably not everyone. That would be rather complicated. Says the following picture below. Okay, I'm letting you know that I'm putting a lot of trust in you, milady, for that. Not to make it more stressful. But as I wrote about on Twitter yesterday, I'm dealing with the increasingly smaller ratio of people I know to people who actually reach out to me and ask me to do things and connect, which means I just have limited energy remaining to do all the work of scheduling and organizing and just keeping up with anyone. Because frankly, not many people message me on any given day, which also is big. Because you're one of the people I'm spending that energy for right now, to keep up with you and chat and find time to do things, my lady. So frankly, if you just want to come to me to moment you have time, that'd actually be better for both of us. It's just surprising to me because no one really does that for me. No one does that to me. I never get any pussy. I'm both excited for that, but also worried if that'll actually happen. But you don't seem like one to just, not do a thing they say they do. You're not a liar, are you? You're not like those filthy whores. Those filthy whores that toyed with my emotions and then left me by the wayside for those horrible jocks. They never recognized me. I put in so much effort for them, and then they just betrayed my feelings. They just betrayed me. They betrayed me. Betrayed me, I say. This awakens a really primal anger in me. Pathetic men really make my blood boil, yes. And it seems we're both staying up to 6 a.m. lately, so don't be afraid to poke me this late either. Oh, baby, I would love to poke you at 6 a.m. Oh, yes, and 5 a.m., and 4 a.m., and 3 a.m., and 2 a.m. Oh, yes, if I had my way, sweetheart, there would be so much poking at the AMs you wouldn't believe. This is putting an immense amount of pressure on someone who Toaster believes has a hard time saying no to begin with. So why is Toaster pushing these boundaries on someone he thinks is vulnerable to people-pleasing? Also, give me 1 second, I need to blow my nose very hard. Sorry about that. Psychoanalyzing others without their consent. This ties into overstepping boundaries. Toaster has an affinity for judging others. He explains that it's his way of observing, but the assumptions he makes about these observations can be harmful to others. More so, Toaster often diagnoses people with neurodivergent disorders like ADHD and autism without their consent. Oh dear, this is just really triggering. I am giving you, chat, I am non-consensually diagnosing you with retardation. I expect 57 Google documents within the hour. Now you can go on Twitter and you can say, Proctor Zakharov non-consensually diagnosed me. Beyond this, he also talks about people most likely having these disorders with other people. EvilToaster should write for ANN. You have tranny. I'm sorry, it's terminal. Well, in fairness, it's only terminal in 41% of cases. EvilToaster. Yeah, wants to so-and-so wants to take me up on VOD reviews, though, so finally someone at least. That's really interesting. I already helped her fix her OBS setup, and she asked 0 questions. Yeah, that's pretty average V-tweeter. And every time I checked to make sure she understood, because she would say, or okay, she was like, no, I don't understand. I think most people are like that, but I notice it because when people actually seek out understanding, it says a lot about them. Why does he always put those emotes as well? Sorry, just give me 1 second. I need a good cough. Give me 1 second. My apologies. Proctor, I'm diagnosing you with a fatal case of impetigo. I have no idea what impetigo is, I'm afraid. That emote was like 12 hours later. Frogs are his entire personality. Also, I got the jar open, by the way. Oh. It is cherries in syrup. And it is a very good equivalent to a throat lozenge at times like this. Impetigo is pale impotence. Okay. I was unaware of this. I have been enlightened. Sorry, I've lost my tabs again. This was about a good friend of mine. While I understand Toaster didn't mean this with ill intent, it still rubbed me the wrong way, because I didn't like what he was insinuating, that people who ask questions / are curious are better than people who don't. I mean, he's kind of right there. I feel like this was a weird thing to judge them on or judge them in general. I think this relates to how he believes he can judge others and not face consequences, as seen when Kisa and other women have problems saying no to people and in his lashing out during the Twitch ambassador situation. Oh, this is pathetic. Good grief, this is sad. She's an off-Kai, but she didn't tell me she was going. She didn't really tell anyone except a couple friends, and she also wasn't invited by anyone. There's a lot of reasons why, but I know she just doesn't really want to admit it, and she doesn't want her partner to feel insecure. He's already said he's felt insecure about me, yes, because I am Giga Chad. Oh, yes, I know her boyfriend, her partner, they're really insecure. They know that Giga Chad EvilToaster is on the case. Soon he's going to be sitting in the cuck chair. I've been staring at him every night from across the room, and I think that soon my piercing gaze will make him so impotent that she will realize that I am the one for her, and she will come over to me, and she will finally unlock my cage, and we shall have the sweet copulation together that I know that I deserve. Yes, it's all coming up, EvilToaster. Anyway, let's continue. He's already said he's felt insecure about me, and she's said in the past she's compromising and keeping things to herself for his sake, and it just makes me so sad, but I'm just not really the person that can call that out. I'm such a nice guy. She's slowly unlearning people-pleasing, but I fear she will let herself go her whole life being content with compromising herself. She just doesn't get it just yet. She just doesn't understand that I'm the real one for her. She's just wasting herself on these inferior men while I'm right here. I'm sitting in my chair and I'm just weeping and crying that she doesn't understand that I'm the real one for her. I'm going to scream. Hearing Proctor's various voices while I work is definitely something. Have you considered moonlighting as a romance novel audiobook narrator? I have a little bit too much dignity for that. Again, he's talking about a woman in a relationship with a friend of mine that is upset she didn't tell him she was going to off-kai, and finds it a problem that her boyfriend is insecure about him, and all of this adds up to people-pleasing for him, and not valid reasons to take distance / protect her relationship. It's a different type of ASMR. I'm highly entertained. I'm sad Denna isn't here. She could rate me on my ASMR. When I was friends with Toaster, one of the first things he talked to me about was neurodivergency and autism. I want to point out that I was still incredibly new to the VTuber scene at this point and was familiar with autism through my younger sister, who is diagnosed. My father also suspected he was on the spectrum. Being new to the scene and not fully understanding how society viewed people with autism, I was pretty excited to talk to someone who seemed to know a lot about it. As we talked more, he started to file things I said or did into his folder of autistic tendencies, and later he introduced me to online tests to see if I was autistic. Oh my goodness! I love how he brings out like the frog inspection emote. That's just hilarious. There's just something so cringe about that. Anyway, if you want to take some recommended tests, start with here. I think it was partial to the RADS/-R and ASPE quiz, but some of them are a bit more tailored to unique experiences if you like taking quizzes. I was grateful to him for introducing me to a side of myself I hadn't acknowledged or explored. But I was also naive to believe that this was entirely normal. I mean, in fairness, this is kind of normal. He puts it in a very creepy and weird way, but I would probably do this kind of thing as well. I mean, I've told Kirsha pretty directly, yeah, you're ADHD. There's just no doubt about it. Like, I diagnose you with ADHD non-consensually. It's just so transparently and totally obvious. I liked to believe that people with autism weren't ostracized by society and that being vocal about being autistic was safe, but that was incredibly naive of me. What the hell? People with autism are not ostracized by society. I thought Toaster was helping myself and others by bringing up their potential neurodivergency. But now I see doing so without consent and publicly is incredibly dangerous and disrespectful. Are you freaking serious? I deeply regret and apologize for my ignorance on this. Okay, we've kind of gotten to a very cringe part. I mean, all of this is incredibly cringe, but yeah, Toaster non-consensually giving people autism tests. It's weird, but yeah, this is nonsense, all right? People with autism are not ostracized by society. People with autism have a tendency to do stupid things that makes them ostracized. What she means by ostracized is that their behavior isn't enabled constantly. That's actually a pretty good point. You could probably argue that very much. Because again, remember, I'm casting stones in all directions here. Would also just not take the test. This is a weird one. By the way, so-and-so is totally hot people. Hot people radar off the charts, my favorite tell. Also, I totally get what you mean by, like, confused about why she scored low on the hot people test. But I think I understand why. There's no way she's neurotypical. Do you know, like, what she does? Her jobby job. What? This is about Milky Wait, why would you censor the name here and then say directly this is about Milky? She's just looking for something to virtue signal for here, methinks. Yes, I quite agree. This is about Milky, my friend, who has never talked to Toaster before about autism/ADHD. I was the one who brought it up to him because she and I took the autism test together. I was surprised she didn't score similar to mine, but I realize now that was problematic of me, and while I was just trying to relate to my friend, I see that I was influenced by Toaster's obsession with autism, and that I do not need to relate to people through sharing an autism diagnosis the way he needs/wants to. I started to become confused as to why EvilToaster would bring up other people's personal lives to me, and why he had to push his thoughts on ADHD/autism onto everyone he met within the community. While at first I thought he was helping me realize a part of myself, I slowly understood that he did this to nearly everyone, and it was more about him finding connections at the expense of others than ever helping people. The following is from a friend who was venting about insecurities, to which Toaster replied, Well, I have great news for you. Almost all the other VTubers are autistic too. I mean, yes, true. Maybe he used her real name in chat. I really hope that they were not stupid enough to share their real names with him. The person he's talking to, Anon 2, does not identify as autistic, and it was incredibly unfair of him to take all of what they are venting about, dismiss their feelings, and continue to say they were just autistic and they shouldn't worry about it because everyone is. Oh my, this... This is a very, very awkward thing. You've read how much from this guy and think he's not that stupid? Proof talking right now, shut up. Excuse me. I don't know. I think my problem is, I don't know how much of it is she doesn't want others to think we're a thing, and how much of it she doesn't want me to think we're a thing. But also knowing Nia, there's also a very good likelihood she isn't even thinking about this at all. Because her head is empty. She is just a woman after all. Her brain, you see, her brain just overheats when she thinks about these kind of things. Meanwhile, my neurons are constantly firing. I constantly tell her and remind her to let me know if her brain starts to overheat and if there's any kind of discomfort coming from me, and she says I'm 100% fine. But from watching her in past experiences with other people, I just am not sure she would hold herself to that. The poor woman. E.g., some rando viewer constantly harassing her in chat and in DMs, acting like her boyfriend, and she just kinda let him exist and responded to him nicely, even though he was killing the vibes. It took my mod team telling her it was making chat uncomfortable for her to do something. This guy is a secret incel groiper, quite possibly. Yeah. But I don't even know for sure how Nia sees me. She just doesn't understand yet. He has at least 17 Tenga products under his bed. Only 17? Good grief, you're generous. Like, I still don't get how, like, for everyone else, Nia's, like, super cheerful and happy and supportive and shows love and kisses to everyone. And then I'm around and she's just, like, not even remotely like that. I'm positive she doesn't even notice she does that, because the more I learn about her, the more I realize she just legit isn't thinking about it. But I don't know because we haven't talked about that dynamic specifically. And I feel like she holds back that kind of sentiment intentionally. But I don't know, and I don't know how to know. It's so weird, because I literally, like, don't have this fear with anyone else. Like, she and I are getting closer, and I feel we could talk about whatever at this point. But every time I try and have a deeper conversation with Nia, I almost feel like she's deflecting it. But I'm also almost sure she's just that unaware that that's what I'm trying to do, and cannot pick up on the fact that I'm trying to talk about something important like that, because she's literally the most autistic person I have ever met. My God. Which of course is, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to me. Like, don't get me wrong, her autism is this perfect gem. It's this wonderful diamond of autism that I see. And the problem is, it's embedded in this hard, jagged wall. And every time I try to get close to that wall to just pry out that beautiful diamond that is Nia. The rocks, they just drive me away. They just drive me away. I've cut my hands so many times trying to pry that diamond free from that wall. But those ribbons, my fingers are in ribbons. The blood is pouring down my arms, and my tears are staining my cheeks. But I hold out hope because I see that she is still beautiful and she is worth fighting for. But I feel like I'll only ever get through if I just force her to pay attention and hold her eyeballs open and speak directly to her face while speaking very, very, very literally. Are you still reading this text or are we freestyling? Yeah, I'm freestyling quite a bit because I find this extremely funny. Like, if you watch the VOD, I do recommend watching the actual video to understand what he's saying. But yeah, I am freestyling a fair bit. Delusional schizo can't accept she's ignoring him. The last screenshot is incredibly problematic. Toaster says someone's head is empty. He enforces his own thoughts on what this person should do about a chatter, gets his mod team involved, and then questions why this person isn't loving towards him, but is to others. He also openly talks about how this person is autistic to someone else, even when the person in question is not diagnosed or identifies with this diagnosis. Apart from autism/ADHD, Toaster also reveals personal information to people that most likely shouldn't be shared. While the person he talks about is okay with his behavior, I feel compelled to talk about it vaguely because the information is incredibly personal, and if he's talking about this with people he barely knows, I can only imagine what personal information he'll share about others or in the future. It is incredibly unsafe, especially in the VTubing community. I wish I could say that he's changed from 2022, but as this document proves, this is repeated behavior that is still current. We've all been there searching for an autistic diamond in the Menhera coal mines. Proctor, have you ever considered theatre? I mean, I've done acting and I've done public talking before, so like I do have like professional level public speech training, so I'm definitely able to do this. This is not just random for me. I do have proper training in this kind of thing. Also, I need to AFK for just 30 seconds or so because I desperately need to go to the bathroom, and then I will come back. Goodness gracious me, we're nearly 2.5 hours already. But I'm going to keep going for quite some time, as I find this extremely entertaining. So I'll be back in like just a minute or so. Hello chat, I have returned. I'd diagnose EvilToaster with Phenylocor. I have no idea how to pronounce that. He is a small-headed, intellectually stagnant freak with multiple skin conditions. I mean, in fairness, he doesn't seem to have a skin condition. He does not wash his hands, there's no way. I use a wet wipe after I have been outside, but yes, I do stream from a shed. I literally just go outside and water the roses, as it were. Unfortunately, there was not a high wind to cause backflow this time. How do you flush it? I live in the countryside, okay? I can just go outside, all right? I don't need a bottle. Did he talk about the hexadrive? No, thank you. Somebody else pointed out. Okay, let's continue. Ow, my shoulder. Are the servers also housed in the shed? No, the servers are housed with a company called Incognet.io, who run anonymous VPS servers, and they've been very good to me so far, and I intend to keep using them. Pushing boundaries. This individual wants to stay anonymous. Please respect that. EvilToaster collabed with this person a handful of times, but always wanted to hang out with them alone. They were uncomfortable about this because Toaster was already pushing boundaries, wanting them to open up to him, as well as making intimate comments towards them. Can you see this chat? Let me just this is very small. I might have to turn off or shrink down the chat for this. Let me just measure things, because this is awkwardly small screenshots. Let me just fiddle around with my stuff. Do you pee in your flowers? I just pee in the grass. A bit smaller and move it over like that. That more or less works. Make my avatar just a tiny bit smaller. There we go. You see, Lumi boys can name their streams more accurately. I've heard, this is something that Kirsha has said as well, that one of the dreams that all women have is being able to hold a man's penis while he urinates, just to feel what it's like to have control over that kind of thing. It was one of those interesting bit of cursed knowledge that she shared on one of her streams, and I'm just like, that's interesting. Maybe some of the women in chat can verify that. You know, my 90% female audience or whatever it is. What the F? You weren't aware of this, Murray. What? No, they are terrible at it. Maybe EvilToaster can get one of the girlies to hold it for him. We don't control it with our... What? You don't control it with your hands? What? You just let it rip? What? Sorry, I'm just drinking a little bit of this cherry syrup. Yes, we do. Yes, a sane person... Yes, we aim it. Correct. We aim it. Isn't that normal? Yes, it is normal. But the flow control is all internal. Did Rydigan just sweep his own comment? I didn't see. Proctor thinking very deeply about volunteering. I mean, I wouldn't just volunteer. I mean, Kirsha has had 6 boyfriends before, okay? I'm sure she has experienced it previously. Sorry about the typing, by the way. I'm drinking the syrup. Murray's just spraying and praying, yes. There have been times when I've gone hands-free, but it's a dangerous game when you can split shoot. She would never, you don't know much about Kirsha, do you? That woman is, rather passionate and rather candid about, things that she's into. Which is why I respect her. Some of us have more foreskin and that makes it spray if you're not careful. I don't really have that problem, fortunately. My boiled egg has not had the top cut off yet. I feel like it'd be harder with less foreskin. I don't think so. I don't think so. It's a bit like a muzzle break. Like, think of the foreskin as the penis's muzzle break, right? So it's all like there's a set of accessories. Return to the document, please. Can confirm 2 different ex-girlfriends have done the "can I hold it, it's weird." See, I was right. She's right, and I was. Yes, boyfriends, just be honest. Just ask your girlfriend, do you wish to hold my penis while I urinate? You would be surprised at how eagerly they say yes. I vouch that. Cease to talk about the foreskin. Oh dear. If she says no, we can't be together. I just tried this and she just banned me for that chipper chat. It's a relationship milestone. If you have enough recoil in your Wii, then you need a muscle break. See a doctor. Proctor becoming a Lyra 2.0 by spending 10 minutes talking about his dick. Oh, good grief. We have conversations on this stream, gentlemen. There are communications that are made. What, does she talk about her clitoris on stream? I have no idea because I don't watch Illyra. Let's get back to much more wholesome and stable things, such as EvilToaster. And here's him banging on the table. Can you please tell me why this is so difficult? It has never been an issue to get you into a collab, or for you to show up to a collab, or anything in general, and those are not easy things for most people. I just want to talk to you and call and hang out and do literally anything with no expectations, so we can be closer friends. And I've been trying for months, and it feels like you are unresponsible to that prospect. What is the barrier? And here they reply, just talking about my issues has never been easy for me, like at all. It's a lot to unpack, and then when I start feeling better, I don't want to talk about it. It's an avoidance system. I'm just an awkward person. EvilToaster. We don't even have to talk about it first. I just want to spend time with you. Over time, it will become easier as our love blossoms and I find my way into your heart and also your vagina. I'm not trying to tell you that I'm hot shit or anything, but I am. But just from an outside perspective, I'm picking up the vibe that your tendency to spread yourself thin for everyone, your feelings of pressure to not leave anyone out, to respond to everyone, to say hi to everyone, etc., leaves you in a situation where the people in your life that you are actively trying to help you thrive, cough, cough, me, that's not even an ad-lib, that's literally what he says, are not getting enough time with you for you to actually feel like you are cared about. Maybe I have it wrong, but that is simply a pattern I see too often because people don't appreciate me. And I always kind of just leave it at that and be like, welp, okay, I guess I gotta stop here. But I don't want to do that to you, so I am simply trying this new strategy of telling you this instead, because the alternative is this permanent roadblock. How tragic. How tragic. And then July 30, July 31, August 1st. Oh, 2024, so this was a very short time ago. Table bang, table bang, table bang, table bang. And the end, okay, you're just gonna have to straight up tell me what you want from me because I don't get it. And then she replies, I explained what I was going to be, that I was going to be gone Thursday to Friday. I'll be real, I don't know why you're under the impression I want something from you. I think I've been clear in saying that I struggle with opening up and talking about deeper issues. Continuing to press on these matters definitely doesn't help. And then EvilToaster, the Supreme Gentleman, says, I don't want to press you to a point where it's uncomfortable, but I haven't felt certain on where it is uncomfortable for you and where you need the repeated attention to know I'm genuinely interested in talking to you and ensuring you aren't worrying about me just being nice or anything. Because I'm not like that. I am genuine and I am sincere and I am always nice, aren't I? I'm always nice. You tell me that I'm nice right now, you filthy whore. I'm not under the impression you want something from me. That's not what I meant, but I know you do want my penis. But I want to know what you want, but I do want to know what you want me to do for you. It's sex. Because on one hand, you've expressed you're lonely and that you want to spend time with me. Two feelings I reciprocate, my lady. However, it's been a struggle to get any time to try and connect with you outside of collabs where there are more people involved, more filthy people that I have to share time with. You've admitted you're a people pleaser, and I really hope you don't feel like you have to act that way for me, because it makes it difficult. Sorry, I just messed up something. I just clicked the wrong tab. Sorry, 1 second. There we go. You've admitted you're a people pleaser, and I really hope you don't feel like you have to act that way for me, because it makes it difficult to know if you're telling me things like you want to spend time together because you're trying to be kind, opposed to saying what you might actually feel that you are not super invested in that. You haven't struck me as dishonest or anything towards me. You're not a lying, cheating whore, are you? But it is tough to navigate knowing this is a struggle for you. Again, though, truly, I am not trying to do anything that would make you uncomfortable, my lady. I'm only trying to reaffirm to you that I mean it when I say I want to be there for you to help you deal with the things you're struggling with, and to hold hands and to run my fingers so delicately through your hair as we kiss under the moonlight. Even if that means just being around and hanging out with you to get to know you better and stay the eggs of loneliness without talking about the big issues. I, of course, won't make you do anything you don't want to do, as if you would never not want to do something with me, EvilToaster, professional Twitch ambassador, marketer extraordinaire, true boyfriend material. I want to help you, and I'm asking for direction. I know it may also be difficult for you to ask for help, and I understand the feeling of needing to feel like you can take care of things yourself, but I understand that you are also a woman, and your brain overheats when you think about such complicated things. So yeah, that's what I mean by asking you to just talk to me, what you'd want from me. I know you've gone through a lot, and I don't want you to feel stuck and lonely. If you don't know what you need, that's okay. I understand you're a woman. I'm trying to figure it out and stay present around you to make it not so easy for the comfortable loneliness to make you feel like you should push friends away. But ultimately, I do not know everything about what makes connecting a struggle for you, and I'm just trying what I feel is right to help you. So I guess just tell me how much help you want, or if you don't know, tell me if you're okay with me trying to find out. Like the clitoris, I've never located that in my life, but I promise to keep trying. Like I said, I won't pressure you to do something you flat out tell me you don't want to do, but things that are difficult to do that you still want are things I want to help you have. I just don't want to end up becoming distant and going back to not talking for a year. What's with him and have women's brains overheat? What is that? He reads too much mind break dojins. I'm sorry I haven't responded your message with a lot to process, and I just haven't had the mental bandwidth whatsoever. When did she respond? Oh, 2 days later. I want to take a moment to point out that Toaster says not to say I'm hot shit, and then says that he is offering something almost no one else in her life is, which is incredibly disrespectful and harmful, because if this person was susceptible to manipulation, this would make them want to let Toaster in, even though they do not have a support group outside of them. Toaster spammed this person multiple days in a row, despite knowing they'd be gone and unable to respond. Beyond that, they bring up this person because being a people pleaser, which is weird that he understands this, but continues to pressure them and make it incredibly stressful for them to not only hang out with him, but provide sensitive information about trauma and mental health. He also did this with Kisser, as seen above. Oh boy. Oh boy, we're getting into the fun stuff now. Oh yes, he wanted to be let in really hard. Yes, he most definitely wants to be let in. You know that one green text of the guy walking up to his aunt with his dick out and going, ooh, it got hard suddenly, like it's JP porn? Yeah, Toaster would have done that, I guarantee. I'm sorry to hear that. There's nothing worse than when you're not really sure where you stand in a relationship and things go unresolved. Like, it's nice to finally get that closure in a sense, but it doesn't take away from all the hurt you're going to feel still. Next year, I promise to give you so many hugs at a convention. Oh dear. You can know a woman has no interest in you if she says less than you. That's actually a pretty good point. That's not a bad point at all, actually. And then EvilToaster goes, I would love to hug and cuddle you at conventions, though. Didn't you plan on going to TwitchCon? Other person, not this year, unfortunately. I can't afford it, and I want to go back into going to the gym and taking care of myself before next year. And that sucks. It's a really tough situation that she was in. I'm glad that her intentions weren't malicious or anything, but it still sucks that you all both had to go through this and not really have a relationship that you both wanted. EvilToaster, yeah, I was looking forward to meeting you this year, honestly. I will look forward to it next year too, though. Would love to cuddle and tell you how pretty you are and watch the Vati Armored Core 6 lore video together. This is truly, truly beautiful and sensual material here. Oh yes, baby. I know what women want. I know that really, oh yes, you just get all wet. You just get soaking when you watch those Armored Core 6 lore videos together. You dirty slut. All of that mechanical stuff. Oh yeah, that gets you going, doesn't it? Hey babe, want to learn all the Super Robot Tayson Alpha lore? Hey babe, Armored Core 6 lore and chill? Armored Core is pretty sexy, TBF. Oh dear. Lady, let us copulate to the background sound of a Zully the Witch video. I wonder if he ever asked one of the girls if he could sniff their farts. You know, that was supposed to be a joke, but you know, you got to present it better to actually make it funny. I don't think he was making that as a joke, actually. Giving us mechasexuals a bad name. I know. It's really hard. The blue cross-out is Toaster telling Anon about someone else's personal information. It gets worse when you realize that this person brings up hugging him at a convention, which is a totally normal thing people do when meeting each other for the first time after having a friendship online for a while. The first thing Toaster does is escalate this to cuddling. Anon ignores this, so Toaster brings it up again, this time expressing a desire to tell them how pretty they are. So, not only is Toaster wanting this person to be vulnerable to them, with them and pressuring them to do so, but they're also obviously interested in them more than a friend, and trying to get them alone together comes off even weirder with this in mind. You want to hear my presentation about how Fire Emblem handled weapon weight balancing across the series? Oh yeah, that'll definitely get a girl going. Maybe I'll scroll down a tiny bit more. In the beginning, EvilToaster and I started as this is Milky, and I started as friends with a strange dynamic. When we first met one another, we would regularly play Apex every Sunday with each other and stream together often. We would almost always duo, and on a rare occasion play trios. I had just become a streamer, and Apex was one of my very first video games. I had no idea how to play any games, especially on MNK, and he offered to teach me. I thought that he was a wonderful content creator who valued his community, tried his best to spread awareness and inclusivity, and just happened to have a rough go of things due to his peculiar way of communicating and his poor interpersonal skills. Even though he was quirky, I thought he had pure intentions and was simply trying to become close friends and build bonds of friendship and camaraderie, which I later found out was simply not the case. We are looking at a red pill in progress. This woman is starting to have the scales of progressive nonsense fall from her eyes at this point, and realizing, yeah, these people are really kind of disgusting and cringe. Oh dear. Fire Emblem and this EvilToaster shit reminded me of a certain ROM hacker, a mage. I have no idea what you're talking about, I'm afraid. Why can't VTubers like Lumia or Miyu play good FPS? I have no idea. I personally don't play FPS. Maybe I will someday. In the beginning, Frog had told me that I was an unusual experience to him. He probably told every single woman that he's ever met about it. He had mentioned that it was unusual for him to meet someone who was nice to him and then affectionate without needing things in return. On our second conversation ever, he told me that while he didn't have a good read on me, he was overly analytical of me from the beginning. EvilToaster. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have a great read on you, milady, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say you're a person who would appreciate honesty and being upfront, especially since you kind of prompted me to talk about things in our first actual conversation, knowing full well there's a can of worms behind the answer to the "how are you" question. So I'm taking it that you're someone very interested in people and value connection and communication and just overall being genuine. Does that sound accurate? As Lakia said, "You tempted me, you harlot." Don't take it the wrong way. I get overly analytical towards everyone. Just usually, I don't tell them that I'm analyzing them until, I don't know, a week. He informed me on call and in various ways that he was emotionally distant and would treat me differently than how he treated his other friends. He informed me he was going through traumas and felt socially distant and isolated and was unlikely to be able to properly interact with me while he figured out how to connect to people. EvilToaster. Hey, I'm about to pass out on account of only getting 4 hours of sleep last night, so I finally feel ready to just sleep a lot, but we'll see if that actually happens. I had a good day. The night was rough, so far as usual, but I'm okay this moment. Figured I'd let you know. Hope your day is going well. I'll let you know when I wake up. I know you already understand, but I was just thinking more today about how I feel like I'm emotionally jaded at the moment and closed off. I've been betrayed so many times. I feel bad about it because of how much you seem to be putting in. I would feel probably very happy and cared for any other time, knowing myself. But a part of it just feels so oddly hollow, and I don't know why. I'm not sure if I've felt that way before. It's not anything on you, but again, I know you get it and that it's not going to stop you. You understand me. I just feel like venting about it because I'm kind of frustrated. I clearly want to enjoy that kind of care. I just wish to rest my head on your soft, beautiful thighs and share that sentiment with you, but I'm just being blocked by things right now. I'm hoping it'll be okay, and later I'll be able to feel the right way. My greatest fear is just that somehow this being the foundation means that it'll never be possible. I'm not sure if that's a case that could happen, but it doesn't seem to matter. Anyway, that's just my thoughts right now for you to have while I sleep harder than I ever have, hopefully. Said ROM hack also had a bunch of Super Robot Wars characters in it for some reason, like Kyosuke, the goat of all time, and X-Len. I do like Kyosuke. He's one of my favorite SRW characters. Although, who is my favorite? Ow. Oh, my jaw is aching. He would reiterate how he was unable to treat me like he treated others, and how he recognized the way he treated me wasn't what I deserved, but he had no intentions of changing his behavior. Milky, I'll be there for you for whatever you do and however things play out. I care about you and I hope things get better. I appreciate that. I'm starting to think you deserve better than even me, oh dear. I think I'm a pretty pog friend, but I think you deserve even better. He would continually bring up how he was dealing with various things and that the platonic affection, comfort, and kindness I showed him was desired and appreciated. However, regardless of the joys I brought him, he would still treat me worse than a standard person. That's just a bit worrying. Also, give me just 1 second. I want to scroll down a bit more. Good grief, this is long. That is page 40. This is very, very long. Oh. Chat, I'm going to put up a poll. Give me one moment. There, I'm just giving people the choice because I can tell my voice is not going to be perfect for too much longer, and I sincerely doubt I'm going to be able to fully complete this in just one sitting, and if I do, my voice is going to be ruined. Oh shit, he's negging her? I don't really understand even what negging is. I've only heard that term a couple of times before, so if somebody could explain that to me, then I'd appreciate it. Good grief, this is a huge dump. Okay, well, good, because here's the deal. I am, generally speaking, an open book. I do agree with that, actually. He is a very open book. The problem is the current chapter of the book really sucks. I am currently being affected by some long-standing trauma from previous relationships and also my family, being heavily exacerbated by a new traumatic event that has just started to unfold a couple of days ago. All that stuff kind of hitting me at once. It is a problem because it makes it very difficult to want to connect with people, and currently the very usual outgoing love I have for every one of my friends is currently faded out. If I seemed cold to you, that would be why. I, on any other day in the last few months or so, would have been much more expressive and receptive. But in addition to that, it is also a problem because me knowing just how people work and how I work, genuine connection beyond the surface, is something I need right now. Really, we all need it all the time, right? That's just how humans are. But having the cognitive dissonance between needing it and being afraid of it is stressful. So when I asked you to call last night and gave me so much comforting sentiment and took the time out of your busy Hollywood schedule to read to me, my mind was racing. Honestly, and through no fault of your own, of course. It was difficult to enjoy it. I tried really hard to just be in the moment and think, wow, that is so nice. She's so sweet, and her reading voice is so soft. Wow. But I couldn't. There were alarms and alerts going off in my head about how it's too nice to be true right now. How I need to be careful because anyone trying to connect with me could be another source of future pain identical to what I am feeling right now. The whores, you see, I have just been destroyed by the whores. I tend to think I have a good relationship with these emotions and my trauma. I know it's not going away anytime soon, but I also know what it is, how to reason with it, and where it's wrong. I know it's wrong here because there is no threat to me, and there is no danger. You're just not putting out. You're not doing anything wrong. But I want to express to you that my brain is struggling to accept that because it has been hardwired through experience to recognize this as trouble. I just want you to have that context and explanation. There is a decent chance you don't even need it, because when you offered to read to me, you made it explicitly clear it was because you wanted to selfishly. What? I have a good relationship with selfish emotions. Yes, you do. That's the most honest he's been all this time. And I don't see it as anything bad. So long as you weren't hurting or taking from me, I had no issue. Yes, my lady, please use me. Please use me, my lady. It's also relatable because when I care about someone and want to do something for them, I often forego even considering if they want me to or not, and just go ahead and do something for them because I want to do it. Yeah, because you're a narcissistic psychopath. But the point is just, it's both something I appreciate and would be happy to receive more of from you. But just expect I may not be as particularly receptive or appreciative of it as I normally would be. I know you don't have a frame of reference for it from me specifically because we haven't interacted much, but if in any way there was something you were worried about, I just wanted to make this clear. See, the thing that I get, the impression that I get from this is very much that she was willing to be very nice to him, but she was also one of the people that did set a hard boundary and said, yeah, this is going nowhere. I'm doing this because I enjoy it, and you don't have a chance with me. Maybe later on in the document that is reframed, but that's how it feels to me. And what he's basically saying is, yeah, thanks so much for being a good friend, but I don't want a friend, I want a fuck buddy. That's the impression that I'm getting from this. He's basically saying, I want all of the things that you're giving me, but I actually want a sexual relationship with you. I want to be more than friends, and you giving me this, but also saying this is just in the context of a friendship, is something I don't like. And this is a very classic narcissistic angle, because he wants everything on his terms, and even if he gets something that he would otherwise really want, he doesn't want it because it's not on the exact terms under which he wants it. That's the impression that I get. I did appreciate it though, and I think it did help me sleep, because at the very least it gave me something new. I love how it says at very least. It gave me something new and different for my mind to constantly analyze and try to figure out, instead of just reprocessing my most traumatic experiences. So even just for that, thanks. This guy is such a dick. First point still stands though. I am an open book. So if you ever want to ask anything or get to know anything about me, then by all means, I may be slow to reciprocate that and ask you things or put effort into digging into your own mind. Good grief, that's creepy. Get over yourself. Yes, he absolutely should. But don't take it as thinking I don't care as much. You seem like a confident person, so I imagine you're good. Milky here responds. This is an interesting response. Oh, sorry. What a stuck-up asset. It's like I say, he wants affection, but only in terms of romance. Milky says, you're precious and I appreciate you. I analyze a lot and I'm really happy to know that you understand your emotions and how to process them. He really doesn't. That's a massive failure of analytical nature right there. I'm proud of you for recognizing your thoughts and behaviors and understanding them. As I said, I like you, you're a friend of my friends, and you've been nothing but lovely to me, so of course I want nothing but the best for you. I'll read to you anytime or just try to chat about whatever with you. It doesn't matter to me how cold or analytical you are of things right now, because I understand the pain of needing someone to be there but pushing them away all the same. Until you tell me you want me to stop expressly, then I won't stop. Times are hard, but you don't have to totally go through this on alone. Allow me to help support you and work towards becoming your friend. Give me 1 second, I need to sneeze. Oh my, that was powerful. Oh. I, in my naivete, just wanted to be supportive of him while he was figuring out how to navigate his emotions. He was good friends with my friends, and if they liked him, then I thought at the time he was surely a good person. Woman moment! Woman moment! This is a category 10 woman moment! That he was surely a good person too when I got to know him. I know the struggles of trying to form genuine connections to people and the difficulties associated with navigating trauma, and at the time I was alright with him being a little more distant with me while we were new to one another. However, that temporary distance quickly shifted into him treating me far differently than he initially did. Sorry, I need to blow my nose now. Yeah, my impression of this is, again, that she reached out to him as a friend, and she was very explicitly clear that her attention towards him was in the context of helping somebody she considered a friend get over trauma. So of all the people that have been discussed in this document so far, this is the one that I feel EvilToaster's narcissism and sociopathy really shines through. Because, let me put it this way. If I knew a VTuber that was like this, who was literally willing, if I was having a bad day, said to me, hey, I want to join voice chat with you, I want to talk to you, I want to listen to your problems, I want to read to you, presumably some kind of like light ASMR thing, so you can help, so to help you sleep, I would consider that one of the nicest things anyone had ever done to me. I would be profoundly and sincerely grateful. I would treasure those memories deeply and personally for the rest of my life. Like, that's because I know that is an incredibly, incredibly raw and difficult thing for a VTuber to do, because VTubers, remember, are very nervous of social situations, and they also, frankly, some of them tend to be very insincere. This was as far as I can tell, a genuine attempt by her to reach out to him, to help him and assist him with his trauma. It is a large kindness. And yet we see exactly how he responds to this. This is genuinely one of the most sociopathic things that I have seen somebody say, where he says, because at the very least, it gave me something new and different for my mind to constantly analyze. So even just for that, thanks. That is the most disingenuous and dismissive way to frame all this. That is really disgusting. If somebody that I knew, if I did a male equivalent to this, I wouldn't literally go on VC with somebody and read to them to help sleep. Like, I'm not like that. But if I did something of an equivalent emotional sincerity and emotional investment, and I was told, hey, at the very least, it was a bit different, yeah, I am never going to help you with anything again. You are going on my shit list for all eternity because you took something that I did for you out of a completely sincere attempt from my heart, and you threw it back in my face and you treated it as nothing. You, sir, are a sociopath, and I'm going to cut you out of my life. So, Milky here, how are you? I've missed you. To be honest, I feel a little shaky about us and wanted to ease my mind. EvilToaster, okay, I'm out walking. We can chat or call in a bit. Walking home. And then Milky says, this man only wants to wallow in his sadness and for people to feel sorry for him. Absolutely, I definitely get that impression. Milky, no worries. It's mostly like we haven't really been talking or hanging out, and I know that when we meet, you were in a weird spot where you were more closeted off, and you've communicated that it made you treat me worse than you usually would, and it made you feel weird. But, like, recently, it's gotten even more prominent than that, like, you don't seem to treat me like your other friends. Like, I feel like I pour in a lot more percentage-wise into our friendship, and it makes me feel like you don't care if we are friends. Like, I try to reach out and play and hang out, then you always talk about people not reaching out or you having to be the one who always plans, and I'm like, hello? I reach out, I try, and you say you don't really have friends and feel lonely, but I'm like bending over to try to be your friend, and I'm making myself super available when I have a tight schedule. It just doesn't feel good, and I wanted to make sure you did want to be friends and maybe just address these things. People can't change or recognize behavior if they aren't aware of it, so I wanted to be able to discuss this with you. He just wants sex. Yes. I think Proctor's ASMR kindness equivalent is playing RimWorld and naming an abomination after you. I'm not going to respond to that. I bet his response will be stupidly long. Yes. Look at this. EvilToaster. I at least don't feel I've ever said no to playing with you. A lot of times, and this happens with like so many people, TBH, someone expresses interest and I reciprocate, but sometimes it just falls through the cracks. A lot of times when I'm the one that initiates, I'll try to actually like figure out when to do the thing when I still have their attention. Otherwise, people will forget or things come up and it becomes too easy to put off. But last week, you did indeed ask to play and caught me at a fortunate time when it was possible and I told you to get on Apex. So it's not an issue of me not wanting to. Things are just more complicated, especially when things are left up to we should X sometimes. I recognize as well that you pour in more into the friendship, and I pointed it out to you both so that you were aware and to make sure you were okay with that. You said you did it because you wanted to, for yourself, without expectation. I took your word for that. What? Oh my goodness, this guy is a complete psychopath. Oh yeah, you said you didn't want anything back from me, so yeah, I didn't give you anything back. What, you upset? Why? You said you didn't want anything back. I just followed your word, bitch. What? What kind of man does this? Things definitely are different from me, though, but it's not really your fault. Things are just happening. A lot of my spare time right now is spent introspecting, reprocessing everything related to so-and-so, carefully treading the connections I have that are growing closer, and then everything related to work/stream. I'm behind on, well, all of that, so I end up spending more time with the people that come to me and grab my attention. That's not like a lot of space in my brain to think about, who do I need to catch up with? Because there's just so much going on. I fall behind on a lot of conversations this way. So then I'm left with the few people who do decide to reach out to me on their own, and I realize that it's a pretty small percentage of all the people I know that expressed interest in interacting with me. It's part of why I feel like everyone's scared of me. In some way, they are. So it's currently just easiest to let people come to me. Especially right now, because I'm stressed about connections. I don't know if you've caught any wind of it, but so-and-so has recently cut ties with me, the whore. We're not friends anymore. It was a bit of a shock to me. But I've also been learning about other friends as I've had become distant with, and learning that they've been intentionally distancing from me because of things they've heard from other people without ever talking to me about it. And I'm positive there are more people doing the same recently. Also, just an important thing to understand about loneliness and isolation is just that. It's not a measurement of actually how many people are around me. Like, I talk to tons of people every day, but how many am I actually connecting with? How many people do I really get to see? Currently, it's like maybe one person a week, maybe. Not even always the same person. There's just so much going on in my mind, and I didn't get to share, and it's tough to really meet people on a level where that can be discussed, because it requires to meet themselves on that level. I can't expect that from everyone. How could this be? Why would a hoe distance themselves from my radiant figure? Did you already play that clip of him going hello over and over to that one streamer who had cried in the first document? No, I did not. I did not indeed. And this again is just completely psychopathic. Where is it? Yes, this third paragraph. This is total psychopath behavior. No man should ever say this to a woman. And this is also, so this resonates with me because it's something that Kirsha has talked about before with her narcissistic boyfriends, where she's had them say to her directly, I really hope you don't expect me to put the same amount of effort into this relationship as you are, because I could just never do that. Like, that's something that she has been told directly to her face before. And I find that completely shocking and contemptible. If a woman is putting in serious efforts to be friends with you, and you are not reciprocating, you deserve to lose that friendship. And I think here, Toaster is being as transparent as we've ever seen him. Because, yeah, this is narcissism to the nth degree. He doesn't care that she wants to be friends with him because he doesn't want to be friends with her. He wants to fuck her. Toaster, no one will talk to me. Also Toaster, God, I am so busy. Come to me if you want to talk to my radiant chrome dome. Yes, Lumi, that is basically exactly how he comes off here. Yes, I need another sip of this juice. Oh, that really helps with my throat. It's amazing. I'm not going to read all of Milky's response because I will say I'm incredibly impressed with how much text she can create. Radiant chrome dome and painted nails, yep. Frog has a tendency to invalidate the thoughts and feelings of those expressing a different opinion than his own. In this situation, as so many others, he had complained about feeling like he didn't matter to anyone and that he was just being used by others. Yeah. Let me just stop here for a second. The narcissist's prayer. That didn't happen. And if it did, it wasn't that bad. And if it was, that's not a big deal. And if it is, that's not my fault. And if it was, I didn't mean it. And if I did, you deserved it. I think you can see how that very much the Vox prayer, yes. I think you can see how the narcissist prayer kind of, translates very well to how EvilToaster's personality comes across here. This rings true to Twitter harassers too. Yes. Didn't know that was the title of that. Yep, that's the narcissist prayer. Let me have a look down. How much more of this is there? Good grief, there's a lot. Good grief. Whew. Where was I? Here we are. Oh, good grief. They talk a lot. She creates less than E.T. The ratio of text between the two is appalling. Never trust a man who has to say more than you. Yes. I don't know who was on the show or what happened, but like if people want to reach out, they will. We can't make them and we can't really change how they are. If they only reach out and interact in the public eye or when it's for content, then that's very disingenuous and like putting on a show. Not saying this is exactly the case, but if someone only talks to you or interacts with you publicly for their benefit, then usually that means they don't care very much. And Toaster was like, that assessment was something. I mean, and he has problems with that. EvilToaster. The if they want to, they will perception is self-sabotaging in many ways for one, and also it's just like not doing justice to other people. But also, that was also just like a lot to say when you also said you don't know who was on the show or what happened. And I guess it was like kind of examining the dynamic I'm talking about, but from a completely different angle that I wasn't speaking on. I wasn't saying they were only interacting with me for content or publicity, because that definitely was not the case. If it were, they would probably be interacting with me more. It's way more complicated than that. You stupid woman, how dare you try and psychoanalyze me? I am the one that psychoanalyzes you. Milky says, because it wasn't related to the person, but rather the action. I was just sharing my thoughts on your sentence. That's all it was. Would you also like to say how day's been? Does the, if they want to, they will perception apply to me for you? It's all about me. If you want to reach out to me, you will, right? I reach out to you too because I want to. It's how friendship lasts. We mutually communicate. EvilToaster. It's always more complicated than that. If I want to, I sometimes won't. So will everyone else. In fact, the majority of people I know right now are people who want to reach out, but do not. That's kind of the problem I'm talking about. I'm not really talking about it to make any commentary about you specifically. I'm just talking about people, and this particular subject with the subject I was talking about last night is the thing I have problems with in relating and connecting with people. I'm not saying any of that because I'm attacking your viewpoint, milady. It's just the thing I was talking about. Of course, we don't have to talk about it regardless, but I'm just saying it's not about you specifically. He would constantly tell me about how he had difficulties connecting to others while all the while expressing that his own distance stemmed from a lack of feeling cared for and loved by others. If someone did care for him, it would cause him to grow distance since it confused him. EvilToaster, you confuse me, bro. How? You always ask me like if I've eaten, or if you can help me, or say that you're proud of me for anything and offering me things. Yes, I care about you. Why, though? Why? Why do I care about you or ask that I do these things? I ask because I care, and I care because you deserve to be cared for. Goodness me, this is one of the nicest women I've ever met. We met by chance, and it was by happenstance of fate. I originally started interacting with you because you were a friend of my friend, and I think my friends have great taste, so it was likely we would get along. And after I perceived you, I realized you were a wonderful person whom I enjoy, and I see a great deal of positive traits I admire and respect, and I feel like you're authentic. I don't know, man. I act on my whims. I like you, therefore it's just that simple. So, do all narcissists self-implode at 40? I have no idea, I'm afraid, but... While struggling to accept platonic, and I do stress purely platonic friendship, he would constantly complain about the lack of love and affection in his life, and how lonely he was, while making inappropriate comment. He would express his desire to be affectionate with me that I would deflect or ignore. Oh, this is fun. Whoa, I'm still in bed. I gotta get up, but I don't wanna yet. You're exhausted. Come nap with me. Okay, this is really funny. I have a small headache. I crawled into bed, but I need to go cook. What should I eat? PB banana smoothie, salad or seared chicken or tuna? EvilToaster, wait, that all sounds good. Oh my goodness. Oh dear. Oh no. Oh no, this is really starting to feel I miss you too, but I gotta get out of bed, 'cause you won't get in it. You just gotta get to a betting booth and bet for when a narcissist house of cards will fall and then profit. Oh no. I want you to lay down with me, and I can play with your pretty hair. Would you come cuddle and make out with me before bed? I gotta release the oxytocin. What? Oxytocin, and then she has woman loves this proof. Oxytocin, common brands, pitocin, hormone. It can cause or strengthen labor contractions during childbirth and control bleeding after childbirth. It can also be used to induce abortion. What? What the hell is this? It's a hormone. What? And then she comes out, right, and says it. You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but it seems like you crave love and affection and intimacy in your life. What do you feel like you're doing, or what's different about you to these other people that allows them to have it, but keeps you from having it? EvilToaster. Literally no clue, other than being in the right place at the right time, I guess. Other than constantly expressing his desire for love and intimacy, he would also express his perception of where he would continually put himself in situations where he would be experiencing negative emotions just to feel the comfort of it, and wouldn't try to change the situations he would end up in, even if they were hurting others like myself. the song in question, a fun song, because it also is about the funny idea of feeling like those awful feelings and situations are so familiar and frequent that it seems even comforting once you get to a point where you expect it to happen, and any apparent sign of something being good is a cause for fear and caution, where you'd rather things get worse just because you know how to deal with that road better, even if you know it's not the right way to go down. Crawling in my skin, these whorish wounds, they will not heal. Another example of him craving more intimacy and love, and how cyclical this was for him. Milky, do you want to watch it together sometime if you're down to rewatch it? I'm bad at rewatching, so I get it if you don't want to. EvilToaster. Maybe. It may be weird, because I literally just started rewatching it with the woman who just closed me off from romance a few days ago, which caused my current spiral of pain and agony! Which, now I don't know if we'll continue it, or when, if we do. He would often discuss his desire for women and his lack of an outlet for expressing his longing and affection. I'm proud of you. Thank you. I wonder how much of the pain is specifically not having so-and-so around to be my comfort, an outlet of affection. She betrayed me, the whore. And how much of the pain is just not having any outlet at all. Not to mention the fact of just like having her for a moment and then not. Desire just superseded by a stronger desire after the first was satisfied. The feeling going from not knowing what you wanted before and not having such a painful longing, then after experiencing it for a short time, then having to go on longing for more, even though nothing about those 2 points in time before and after are different. It's just now you had a taste, and wanting more makes life harder. This is why them Buddhists don't like all that attachment stuff. And I wonder how much of this is because he's terminally online and doesn't going out. Probably an awful lot. This is the type of people I would have told to off themselves a few years ago. I think he should off himself, honestly. And like, this is so narcissistic and so awful. Again, I just can't get over this. This guy literally, legitimately had a... If I had a female relationship like this, I would be so incredibly into that woman. Like, no joke. They would be a very close friend. I would treat them with utmost respect, because I know how hard it is for a woman to be genuinely, like, try and make an emotional connection with people online. I know how many VTubers are extremely socially awkward and find it extremely hard to connect with people. She is doing her best. She is genuinely trying her best. And he just doesn't recognize it. Like, every time, that's the astonishing thing. We've gone through multiple cases already of this guy where he has been, well, he's thought he's been in a relationship, or there's an opportunity that he's been in a relationship with women who very clearly have no interest in him whatsoever. But he chases after them, he pines after them, he's really pathetically into them. And yet this woman, who has been willing to be his emotional confidant, who has been willing to approach him and ask him to hang out with her, who has been willing to read him comforting stories at night to help him sleep, and his reaction to it is to whine, "Oh, woe is me, I don't get any pussy." It just really depresses me. Emotional tampon. Along with expressing his generalized desires for affection and intimacy with women, he would make mildly suggestive comments about wanting to have more with me. I had a day filled with talking to some friends about their struggles in their relationships and self-worth. They went really well, and I shared a lot of perspective that made them realize things that helped them stop hating themselves for things that aren't their fault, and how to communicate with their partner in a way that respects themselves and have a healthier relationship. And after that, I was just like, wow, I would be a great partner in a relationship. Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me. I'd fuck me hard. After I made a comment about how I appreciate his friendship, he made a suggestive comment insinuating that he would be open to almost anything with me, which at the time I thought meant was to be taken in a purely platonic way. However, through the conversations about me and screenshots regarding me in the rest of this doc, I have learned was not his intention. Oh dear. Oh dear. I decided I love you. You mean a lot to me, and platonically you're so special and cool, and I adore you. Why can't this happen to me? Why can't this happen to me? This is why touching grass is important. Honestly, oh my god, this is really, really, really awkward. Oh my goodness, this is really, really awkward. Yeah. If there are any female VTubers watching this stream right now, don't say this to a man that you only want to be friends with. Purely platonic could not be misconstrued. Yeah. This is another case where I'm going to throw a stone at Milky, okay? I'm going to lay off my eternal bombardment of rock smashes on Toaster's head that just chuck a fairly substantial pebble Milky's way. Do not ever say this kind of thing to a man online, especially a deeply parasocial man. This was the worst thing she could ever have said. This is terribly worded. I'm speechless. I am genuinely completely speechless at this. Do not say the love word. Men are real dumb about that. If someone told me that they loved me, you know, assuming, of course, like, obviously, if they just said, oh, hey, I love you, and I didn't know them, or we only had a very, very casual relationship before, like, no, I'm obviously not going to reciprocate that, but if somebody, and again, let's look at the context of this, a reminder of the context. She has been on multiple voice calls with him, she has done ASMR for him, she has helped him sleep at night, she has completely ignored it when he has flirted with her, which, in other words, is a sign to keep going. All of this is sending signals, and again, I can't help but look at Toaster and go, you know, I believe that Toaster is a narcissistic psychopath. However, if you put any other kind of clueless autist in a similar situation to this, they would take it the exact same way. Hell, if I was in this situation and she said something like this to me, if she said, I decided I love you, I'm sorry, I'm going to assume that is very essentially saying to me, oh, we're friends now? That's a signal to me we could be more in future. That is how that I would take it. You can't read this and think anything different. There's no way you can read this and take away from it anything less than, oh, we're friends now, but I love you, and I would love to be with you if circumstances were different. That's how I would treat this. So, yeah, this is a terrible thing to say. I can win you over is what you mean? Yeah, I think that's a decent way to put it. I would often reiterate that the affection I showed him was purely platonic and could not be misconstrued. This is just stupid. I'm sorry, she's wrong here. This is absolutely wrong. This is wrong. Objection, progressive woman lens. This is... I'm sorry, I just can't. This is genuinely getting to me. This is actually making me quite angry right now. I shouldn't feel... I don't feel sorry for Toaster. Like, Toaster is a creep. Toaster is a very nasty person. But it's like dangling meat in front of a crocodile, baiting the shit out of him. Yes, this is borderline baiting. There's no way that I can read this that is not either unfathomably naive or outright baiting. Those are the only two options. EvilToaster. Sorry I get to reply as I was getting ready for bed and freaking out over being on time for the event. I'm grateful you feel that way to me, though, and I'll do my best to handle how you feel with care and not hurt you and all that. You've also been a refreshing experience to me, and I appreciate many aspects of you as well. I too feel very uncomfortable with you and probably be down for almost anything. Anything with you. I think in the current moment my attention is getting pulled in many directions, so I don't know if I can give you the same focus you may deserve, but I'm sure you're very understanding of that. And this is honestly not even a particularly irrational way to respond to this. Like, I could see myself writing something similar to this. Like, this is honestly not a bad reply. It's still kind of narcissistic in that kind of I'm being pulled in different directions. But yeah, him saying I'd be down for almost anything after she said I decided I love you, yeah, that's not an irrational thing to say. He's not in the wrong for saying that. That's a logical conclusion and continuation from that statement that she made. He's not in the wrong here. Bitch admits eternal friendship and he just hits her with the I'll try not to hurt you and all that. I mean, yeah, that's still... Again, if we didn't have context as to how he normally acts, again, I would say that's not even a particularly bad response. I don't think it's wrong to say, I'll do my best not to hurt you, because especially how delicate online relationships and so on can be, I would much rather that somebody said to me, look, I'm worried that the way that I behave might hurt you in some way, so let's talk about this honestly and figure out where our breaking points might be and just try not to hit them. Like, that's a sane thing to ask. Like, the whole idea of, oh, our love is like a loving river of loving love that shall always flow and always be wonderful, and we will always have instant understanding of any possible problems. That's a myth. That's a fantasy. That doesn't happen. You need to be able, if you are genuinely affectionate with somebody, you will be able to sit down and say, look, let's just talk about this because we matter to each other enough to be honest, to be sincere, and to talk to each other and not be offended by honesty. It's the and all that part that kills me because it's so uninterested. Yeah, I think that his perspective now is that he does understand. Now, let me just emphasize, let me just get this to make this straight. Toaster, I fully believe, knows that Milky only wants to be friends. He is not misconstruing what she says to him as, oh, I want to be more than friends, or that we can be more than friends. No, he believes that she just wants to be friends. What he's doing is pushing at that boundary. However, that does not change the fact that what she is saying to him is still all the wrong things that she absolutely should not say, ever. And that to anyone else, it completely dampens the idea that he is, I mean, he's in the wrong, but it just breaks the idea of, oh, Milky is a completely innocent victim who never did anything wrong and it's all his fault. Because anybody, I could see just about any clueless autist male on the internet being exactly like he is now. In fact, she is lucky. She is almost lucky that he is the one that is being disinterested and doesn't want to continue things. That he is only making these comments. Because you say this to a parasocial autist online, and my God, they are going to be obsessed with you for the rest of their lives. And they are going to parasocially anti you when they realize it's not going to happen. for the rest of their lives. You are going to get somebody who spreads rumors about you on VT, who makes clips of you out of context, everything. Bitch was leading him on the whole time. I don't know enough about her to feel that way, but it's just it's a very bad look. It's a really, really, really bad look. While this screenshot is not inherently concerning, this was one of my most traumatic interactions. He was well versed in tech support and would often help his friends with routing, systems, and other tech things. I reached out to him to help me, and he was horribly condescending. We got into a voice call, and he had me share my screen, and explained to him what was wrong with my OBS. I'm not tech savvy, and while I struggled to find the words for what was wrong, every time he would express what it could be. Like compression, for example. He would have me Google compression and actively read the definition aloud to him, and then he would ask me if that was what I meant. And if it was, he would then have me try to Google how to fix it, even though I had already elaborated that I had. It's a Mike Z Skullgirl situation of an autist getting led along, but this time the autist is also a rat F. Yes, I agree. So we clicked through the guides I had already read, and he had me read them aloud, while questioning me in a berating and belittling way. I expressed to him that I wasn't aware of how to fix it, and this method of me reading aloud what I had already read wasn't helping. He was incredibly condescending and was demeaning to me. He eventually helped me figure out how to adjust the numbers in OBS after I started crying when he was telling me how easy it was and how I should be able to figure it out. Throughout all this, he was just so horrible to me. To be quite honest, Krigalo Bunsen, I don't think she was intending to lead him on. I think she was desperate to define their boundaries since he's erratic, and she thought this was a great way to gently let him down. If she did, then she is a enormous fool. Cubano-coded behavior, yeah. This kind of feels a bit like a nothing burger, to be perfectly honest, because I know many different tech support guys who would basically do the same, because they are sick and tired of dealing with women who just don't read the freaking manual. So, I've sat in on Nim's tech support streams with Kirsha before. I can understand if she didn't like it, but I, quite honest, I'm not going to entirely hold it against Toaster for doing this. All women cry during tech support. I refuse to help my mother with anything to do with her tablet any longer, because when my mother is an incredibly strong and brave person, unironically. Like, she literally has cancer and she just basically completely ignores that, and she has many other health problems and still manages to do like 8 hours of work every single day. I deeply love and respect my mother as one of the strongest people I have ever met in my life. The one time that she breaks down into genuine tears is when she has to deal with the problem on her tablet. That is the one time where she breaks down. And it's the one time where our incredibly strong relationship gets strained to the point of raised voices. And so I'm just like, I'm sorry, Mother. I love you deeply. I love you so much that I am not going to interact with you on this matter, because we both know what the outcome will be. Because women and electronics do not mix. The Kiwi Noir, the doc is blatantly a cancellation attempt that came at a good opportunity, since they knew this for 2 years. Everything alleged here, while true, has been exaggerated in their favor. I do agree. That is a good assessment. I think that there is plenty of reasons to cancel Toaster, honestly. I think he is a very disgusting individual. I think he is a degenerate. I think that he has very strong signs of being a narcissistic sociopath. There is more stuff besides this document, which I think I will get into next stream. But yeah, Toaster is most definitely a very unpleasant individual who is obviously using his clout to try and get his way in life. But at the same time, I am definitely casting stones at people like Milky. Maybe in the best case scenario, she's just kind of innocent and doesn't understand how her words come across. But the more I read of this, the more I feel as if she was in some way either leading him on or just not learning from sending all the wrong signals. Heljeb, my mom is a backseat electronics repairer, so she keeps yelling and useless advice while I try to get her pirated football streams set up. Thank God you don't have to deal with that. He's definitely been getting what he wants with his tactics. Yes. Because the casting couch is a thing. There is a casting couch in VTubing. There is a casting couch, especially when it comes to tech support, electronics, and so forth. And I'm sorry, I'm going to call out a woman who hops on the casting couch. Oh good, this is, there is an end here. And I think I will stop just at the end of this paragraph because my voice is most definitely starting to hurt. How long have we been going on for? Like nearly 4 hours? 3 hours and 44 minutes. Lastly, I wanted to elaborate on something that has come to my attention through the creation of this document. I have never, and would never, take a romantic or sexual interest in Frog. I'm only going to send all the signals in the universe that would be acceptable. I am a very affectionate person to all my friends, community, and people I meet. Terms of endearment are not unusual for me, and the affection I express is the same affection I express to everyone. The messages I have sent using positive terms are the same terms I use for everyone, and could never be taken as anything beyond platonic, since it was well known to EvilToaster that I communicated to everyone this way unilaterally. No. No, that is an absolute woman cope. Sorry, that is a woman moment extraordinaire. Women whined about menstruation and childbirth being so painful, and they so, though, I think you messed up there. So we men invented a pain they'll never conquer, technology. I vote that she was leading him on. Why was she putting so much effort into it is the only weird thing about it. Hear you, Kusanagi. Your message is completely garbled. I have no idea what you were trying to say. Throughout our entire history and every interaction, I have never been anything but purely platonic and tried to act in the most sincere way towards him. Again, lie or naive, it's up to you. All I wanted from them was a genuine friendship where I could be supportive and kind towards them without anything more. Our shower call was a regular occurrence between myself and my friends. I have a large shower where part of it will always be dry. Thus, it is normal for me to be on call while showering and just being silly with how hard it is to me to hear one another and laugh about the echo. No cameras were on. There was never anything sexual on my part. All of their suggestive comments at the time I took as simple playfulness from someone who didn't know how to properly communicate affections, and I thought it was him trying to open up to me. It is absolutely appalling to me to see how he misconstrued our dynamic to others and how he suggested the possibilities of more with me. While treating me so coldly and horribly, he alluded to such a different dynamic to others. This woman is retarded. What the hell are you doing? Yes. Mogujan, this bitch be wilding. I was about to buy into naivety until the show calls was called up. Pressed the biggest X to doubt. Her, she's stupid, just using some stereotypical accent. Yeah, this is dreadful. This is the worst look you could possibly go for. I just don't believe any of it. This entire paragraph is bunk. It's nonsense. It's terrible. If you are doing calls with male people in a shower, that is inherently sexual. You are a naked woman, even if it's just on camera, not on camera. Even if it's just audio, it doesn't matter. You are deliberately putting yourself in a situation that can only be construed as sexual with a man, and you are inviting your man a man into a private space where you are naked, where you would not be that way with a normal person you did not intend to be intimate with. I mean, how many women would willingly be naked in a shower with a man and be like, oh no, we're totally friends. I don't understand how anyone would possibly think, oh, that man, he would think we are intimate. No. But Proctor, the Baldo, taught me that hours-long shower calls are totally normal. Unless she genuinely was treating him like a girl, which is weird. No. It's not sex, it's platonic insertion. In hindsight, it is such a shame it took me so much time to distance myself from him, and that I allowed him to treat me this way for as long as he did. In my last year of VTubing, I've come to respect myself far more and would never let this happen again. Through this document and sharing my experiences, I hope that others won't be put through the experiences I was. I hope they can love themselves enough to know their worth and not be treated this way while trying to build such a one-sided friendship while being sexualized, used for inflating egos, and demeaned. While these experiences are my own, I know many friends who have similar and grossly uncanny experiences with EvilToaster who weren't comfortable coming forward due to his influence. These two idiots deserve each other. You have a block button, use it, woman. Yeah. Maybe we should cease speculating on motives. They're both hopelessly stupid. Yeah, to be perfectly honest, I'm going to have to say it. EvilToaster actually comes out looking better in this interaction. I mean, take it from me, EvilToaster still looks terrible. However, it's evident that he saw through this. Honestly, he seems to have seen through what she was doing and been like, Ho, are you for real? This is actually... Then again, anecdotal evidence. I was treated like what you described once, by the way, so I believe that more women are like that. Oh, I see. Yeah, I just can't believe it. I am finished with this milky stuff, and I can't say... I mean... I have answered calls while soaking in the tub, but it was a quick, is it important? Let me call you back in an hour type thing. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Like, not having a long conversation in the shower. If he knew, if this is my hypothesis, he knew, or he realized that she just wanted to be platonic. And was like, you know, I don't want to be platonic, I want a romantic relationship. If you don't want a romantic relationship with me, I'm just going to sit there and give nothing to you. Which is very cynical and very mean, and again, very narcissistic, but it's not an unfair way to look at things. Once again, modern women will flirt with you, but when convenient, will then turn it around and say it was sexual harassment. Yes. That's what I don't like. This feels terribly sordid. The rest of the document, I think, has good points. Like the stuff with, I think, Kisa or whatever, the other stuff. That's creepy, that's weird, that's unpleasant. So they took a shower through Discord. If she takes a shit while talking on Discord, that's when you know she's leading him on. Anyway, that is the end of this section. We have, let me just have a look. We have another 17 pages to go, and also we have a whole other document that people have brought out since then. I think what I would like to do now is end this stream because I'm aware that it's getting very late for a lot of people, and oh, sorry. Good grief, that's the result of me having too much cherry juice. Yeah, small wife. Reads a man bedtime stories, plus has shower talks with him, confused why a man loves her. Yeah, I agree, and I'm not going to read all that. Oh. I've just realized also, I have not had food for, like, 8 or 9 hours, so I am very hungry, so my stomach has started to rumble quite furiously. I am going to go get something to eat. I am going to read the rest of this document on Wednesday. I am also going to read the other document that was brought out about EvilToaster. And at the end of that, it will be a good time to me to be able to go back to the TVA thread reviews for the next stream. Because the thread will have moved on enough in that time and as new content that I will be able to read, which will be wonderful. Tea and crumpets time? Not this late in the day. I will probably go and make myself a lovely vegetable soup. I really like vegetable soup. Thank you all very much for coming, and I wish to remind everybody as well that I'm going to ask you to shill. Please shill me, because we are slowly approaching 1,000 subscribers, and then we can raid people, which will be very nice. We will be able to spread the love and the word of the virtual asylum to other streamers' chats. Won't that be wonderful, guys? Fake British fish and chips is where it's at. The fish and chip shops are terrible in Ireland. That's the one thing I dislike about Ireland. It just doesn't have good fish and chip shops at all. I feel retarded after all that. My IQ went down about 10 points. I understand, Asahara. Are you sure you want that? Yes, I want to get big, okay? I need to get larger. There, and Kirsha will notice me. I subscribed today. Thank you, small wife. But yes, thank you very much for coming. I am going to go and have something to drink and eat. Good night, everyone. Thank you for your time. Good stream. Thank you very much, Damned Lurker. Sorry, I didn't say Loker. You want to get big? Should we make architect jokes now? Pff, spreading the word on Nifco, sending the ASMR. And you, thank you very much for coming, guys. It's nearly 4 hours. Good grief. Good night.